Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Spiral Offcast. My name is Danny,
And my name's Chris.
and for joining us. This is episode 7,
This
podcast
is
7.
this is the Off Cast number 7. Words are hard at the beginning,
Words are always, it's always the beginning.
and this is where we, did you say rock the dragon? We talk about Dragon Ball
Yes,
GT.
we're talking about GT. Welcome to another anime-centric episode.
That's right.
And we are going into Dragon Ball GT today.
Woo,
Woo!
if you weren't excited before, hopefully you're excited now.
Hopefully you are, yes.
We spun the wheel, and this is
What we got.
due to
Because the weird little thing that the wheel did, it said
Yeah,
Demon Slayer, but then you look at it, it actually was on GT.
Yep, the needle was poking on GT, and the gods mocked us, and we're like, Demon Slayer, we know it's popular, but you should watch GT instead.
We know it's popular and you'll probably get into it, but ha ha ha, you thought wrong. If you think you're going to talk about Demon Slayer without kissing my cock, you are dead wrong. Oh, that's
God, I didn't expect that meme to come up.
Of course, that's like the second time we've referenced it on the channel, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. It's
Speaking
classic.
of the speaking of the channel, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. Check out some of our other videos. We have 6 other podcast videos that you can check out after this one, and this channel that we do here, we do a lot of gaming videos. You should check them out.
Yeah, we do the games. We make the dankest memes,
Yes,
and
we play some pretty good games.
pretty good games.
Solid.
Solid quality games. So if you like games, hit a like on the video.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
If you like talking about anime,
We
put
got
a like on the video.
There you go. If you like talking in general, put that like on the video.
I was gonna say if you like being alive, put a like on the video, but I don't know if that's gonna.
Don't
do that.
I don't know. I wouldn't put a like.
I certainly would.
I certainly wouldn't. All right. So
But yes, welcome
Let's-
back. Dragon Ball GT.
GT. Let's get down to business. So
So full spoilers for GT. We're
yes,
talking about
we're talking about it all.
we homogenized the entire series into this conversation
Yes,
because it doesn't need more than that. It really doesn't.
it doesn't.
And we wouldn't want to put you through that.
Indeed.
So we went through the struggle for you to watch the entire series.
Indeed. I want to make this clear. I have been trying to watch GT for quite some time now. We have always joked around about talking about GT on the channel. Let's see. I believe this was attempt 3 on watching GT. The first attempt was back when I actually finished Z for the first time. Back on Kiss Anime. Good old days.
Back in the day.
Back in the good old days of Kiss Anime.
Rest in peace, Kiss Anime.
Yeah, R.I.P. Never forget. I tried to watch GT then. I got about 7 episodes in. I said, fuck this, and I left it. Then I started watching again about last year, just because I was like, hey, let's try this again. I got a little bit farther, and I said, no, I don't think I will.
No, I don't think I will.
But we joked around about it, but talking about it on the channel, just doing some random video and just talking about GT the entire time. And here we are now on the podcast, finally getting our chance to talk about it.
That's right. And lucky for you, you're here for the whole ride.
Indeed.
Man, so yeah, we have joked about it just because it's like we get the like before we knew some of the story beats subtly just from like Dragon Ball games that have like the recurring characters and stuff like that. And like what the fuck is this show?
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
So I have watched Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super and everything, but I hadn't watched GT fully until now. Until watching this for the cast. Like I said, I attempted before, but just never could do it. But that was after Z and everything. So I have now watched the entire show as of this morning.
And still, this is being recorded in 2020. By the way, still not canon. So,
Yes.
so
If like this is like a couple years and then Toriyama comes out and he's like, "Yo, guys, we figured it out." It's
guys, the next arc after Super, we're gonna go revisit GT.
oh my god. If he does that, it's gonna be like, oh god, no, please no.
Oh God, no.
Oh.
But yeah. Without, I think we can go ahead and preface it. We let you know it's not canon, so just enjoy the what Toriyama was responsible for, even though
Toriyama and Toei
this was
Animation.
basically Toei's. Toei basically was the creative mind over the entire show. Basically,
Yeah.
Toriyama was kind of like a subtle, not an overseer, but he was like slightly involved.
Yeah, but
Like-
not as much as like all the other stuff.
No, Toei was like, no, we got ideas.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this isn't based off like a manga or anything, right?
No,
Like,
this was never written down. This was never a thing, other than an anime, and it is Toriyama, the Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z and Super,
and OG Dragon Ball as well.
yes, he wrote this, or he didn't write it, but he was involved, and so it happened.
It happened,
And he never wrote it in the mangas. It was never anything but an anime spin-off side story. That's what he technically is quoted as calling it, a side story. And it takes place between, because of the sub and the dub, takes place between 5 and 10 years after Z.
Yes. So, but for those of you who haven't watched it, but have watched like Dragon Ball Super, Super takes place right after Z. This is like a way further down the road if it were canon. So that's just to clear up the air for that.
Yeah, but just pretend GT just doesn't exist.
And it basically
'Cause-
doesn't exist.
Yeah, and if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball Heroes, is it Dragon Ball Super Heroes?
It's Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I just remember it because the annoying ass song. It's like Super Dragon Ball Heroes or whatever. They just say it, and that's how I remember them saying it.
That's amazing. That was beautiful. But okay, so yeah, they're taking a lot of, I mean, they're taking everything from everywhere in
Yeah.
Dragon Ball for that show. So yeah, it's just Super Saiyan 4 is in there from GT, but it's like still not canon. That game and that show are not canon.
Super Dragon Ball Heroes is not canon. Lick my nuts. It's not. Ugh. I just
Golden Cooler.
honest. And what is it? The weird Saiyan in the beginning who was like the imprisoned one.
Oh, I don't even remember his name.
That was a while ago.
It was, and his ki was like damaging.
Negative. Yeah.
Like you just being in his aura would like hurt you,
Yeah.
and it's like, all right,
Sure, why not, I guess.
yeah, it's fuck it, and then yeah, it was all these things. Now, but we're not here to talk about that.
We're spiraling off, but we haven't even started the discussion.
I know. Okay, so we're gonna spiral this back over in reverse to the
Take-
dawn of time.
Take it back now, y'all. Boom. Reverse. Everybody clap your hands. I hit myself trying to do the clap.
God.
Oh my god. Okay.
Jeez, and so with that, welcome to Dragon Ball GT.
Welcome.
The sun rises on a new dawn after many years after Z, and what looked like hope turned into a new series.
Yes, basically. So the best way to talk about this show, because there's like two main arcs, but there's a lot of like really filler, just fluff in the very beginning of the show, and then between the two, and it's So I'll go ahead and let's set up the show. We're not gonna go
Yeah.
in depth on every single episode like a play by play, but I will set it up basically. The show starts off with the introduction of the Black Star Dragon Balls. These Dragon Balls that aren't the actual Dragon Balls, but they're like the bad version of the Dragon Balls.
Which that in and of itself is like, where did they come from?
Yeah, exactly. You
Because
wonder that because they've never been talked about. They were just chilling in the palace. What is it? The Kami
really,
place.
they were. Oh yeah, that's right.
Because he was training Oob.
Because okay, like when you look, when you know Dragon Balls, they come from the basically the kami of, not kami, but like the god of the planets.
Yeah,
So it's like the Namek Dragon Balls exist and function because of Dende.
yeah. Who
And
is now the Kami of Earth?
yeah, so it's like that got moved over. So he's the kami of Earth.
Yeah,
That's why the Dragon Balls function.
yeah,
So when you know that is how it is canonically how that works, the fact that these exist, just happen to exist,
exactly.
is very confusing.
It is, but that's
But-
all the first episode. So, anyway, so basically what goes down is that if you watch the end of Z, you know that Goku just kind of fucked off 20 miles west and took the reincarnation of Majin Buu, Oob, this nice little boy. They basically wanted to go train, and that was the end of Z. A very lackluster ending to Z. But GT picks up where they were like finishing up training, and then you had a very old Emperor Pilaf and gang. I forget the other two names. Basically, they are like, and then they find the Black Star Dragon Balls, thinking they're the regular ones, and they basically use them to summon Shenron because their whole thing is to get the Dragon Balls. You know, OG Dragon Ball, they got the Dragon Balls.
Yeah, but this Shenron is a little different.
No, he's the bad Shenron. He's a naughty Shenron. He's red
He's a little
and
dirty boy.
he's red and stupid.
He's like a shiny Pokemon version.
He kind of does look like a shiny version. But he comes out and they're all like, and then like Goku comes out and he's all like, what's going on? And they're all he gets all like mad and he's like, screw you, and he's all like, I like remember when you were a kid and blah 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 blah, and like, you know, I forget what he says, but basically he wishes that he was back to whatever he was before. And then the big Shenron is like, as you wish, and then turns Goku into a kid, back into like the kid form.
Yep, Kid Goku.
And they're all like, what? And Goku's just kind of like, huh? And then
And the viewers are like, huh?
yeah, and I'm sitting there like, oh no. And then the dragon, because these are the Dragon Balls, basically after the wish is done, Shenron goes away and the Dragon Balls all fly in the sky and go away. But here's the funny part, because the Dragon Balls, they just fly to different parts of the Earth and everything, but these are the Black Star Dragon Balls. So basically, they fly up into space and go across the galaxy.
Right? Which is funny because that's the same concept of the Super Dragon Balls.
Oh yeah, huh? They're the giant, because
They're
the planet size.
The giant planet-sized ones,
Yeah.
and when they make the wish, they scatter
Across.
across the universe.
Yeah.
So it's like that was an idea that Toriyama borrowed from GT for Super.
Basically.
Anyway.
So yeah, Goku is a kid and he's like, yay, but everyone else is like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they come to find out that from King Kami, that because it's the Black Star Dragon Balls, because they're the bad Dragon Balls, when a wish is made and they scatter off, the planet that they were used on explodes after a year, and unless they, so basically he says to Goku that you need to go find all these Black Star Dragon Balls across the galaxy again, but if you don't, in 1 year, the Earth's just gonna blow up. And it's like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
It's like, all right, sure, we'll go with this.
Sure, why not? And that's all in like the first episode.
Yep, they really set it up like.
They set it up.
By the way, Earth is just gonna straight up explode. Why? Because
because the Dragon Balls,
Because you made a wish.
you did a bad thing. And basically this sets off the events for the show. Bulma, of course, gets like a spaceship for them and everything, and Goku is gonna go off into space to go find the balls. And yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
It's just like, what? It just starts off in such a way.
It's such a funny
what the
thing.
hell's happening?
And then he goes with Trunks, who is an adult in this timeline, but is like the president of Capsule Corp.
Capsule Corp.
It is Capsule Corp. Okay, for a second I was gonna say Capsule Corp, and I was like, no, that's the thing from Yu-Gi-Oh. But I was thinking that's Capsule Monsters.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
Oh my god.
It was Shonen. Shonen had a plan. But he goes with Trunks, and then originally, if I remember correctly, was it Goten that was supposed to go with them as well? So it would have been Goten, but instead the third member is actually Gohan's child, Pan, who is like a 10, 11-year-old girl here who's just kind of, a 90s kid, any 90s kid cartoon, like spunky, annoying, bratty.
Yeah.
It's like a little sister character. But she basically jumps on and she's like, yeah! And then the rocket takes off, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess.
Okay, crossing the universe with your child. That's...
So basically, you have kid version of Goku, who is also very annoying in this show. He's very annoying as, like, he acts like he's a kid, but it's not like his mind regressed back to being a kid. He's still Goku.
Yeah, so they basically establish in this time that he's still himself. He's just in a younger body, in his youth body.
Yes.
But all of his brain and his memories and his thoughts and everything are still the same. Mm-hmm. Everything still technically happened. He's just in a smaller body. So it is very strange that he has this totally different, not totally different,
not
but
totally
more exaggerated personality.
It is, and it's very annoying. And then you get this annoying little kid Pan, and then Trunks, who's just there.
He's just
and that's where the adventure begins. And so at this point, then, this is where the play-by-play will end. We'll just go ahead and talk about the show.
Yeah, this was the important setup.
This is what we needed. We needed to set up how the show goes off.
Because if we didn't, this shit would be off the rails. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. I do want to point out, so I have brought back from the grave, I have used the Dragon Balls to bring back my old phone that had all my old notes on GT. Back when I was originally watching this.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I don't know how you did that, but you did it.
I booted the phone up literally just so I could get all these notes.
This old phone of his had literally just eaten dust, and all of the notes that he had written for GT back when he just watched it out of curiosity.
Yes.
And lo and behold, they're coming into use.
Yep. I booted the phone up for this.
It was all for this moment, you guys.
Yep.
You guys here listening to this are history.
Yep.
Making history right now.
One last ride with this.
One last ride.
Man, I hope you guys like milk, because we are milking this joke and going to continue to do so.
If it doesn't show up in every video at least once, we're not doing our job right.
Correct. No, so I was looking through my old notes, and I also took notes for the episodes that I've been watching, everything, just so that I could get an idea.
Oh, please bring us into your thoughts.
Well, it was interesting because, like, yeah, there's a lot of notes of me just saying, like, why couldn't Goku just, what was it? I said, like, why couldn't Goku just use the normal Dragon Balls to turn himself back to normal age, and then in the year to find the Black Star, just use find the Dragon Balls again to locate the Black Star ones, like to just bring them back? Why not just do that?
Yeah, because the original Dragon Balls would stay on Earth.
They would,
and we know how to find them. Like
it's like, why not just go, if you have them on hand or something? Why not use them to turn Goku back, and then when they go disperse, go back and get them? because finding the Dragon Balls is very easy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I because I know some people would probably compare this to the Lord of the Rings theory, like, oh, just use the eagles to fly over and drop the ring.
Exactly.
But it's like that's different because these are literally magical. They can do anything you want them to do. You can literally just wish for them back, and you're like, well, that's not the point. I'm like, but the Earth will explode. Why would they not? Why would they not just do this easy thing? And of course, yes, it wouldn't make a good story.
Story that don't make the fucking story then. What else did I say? There. Okay, so I was saying how like I was saying that like I thought it would have been really interesting if Goten had actually gone with them to go find the Dragon Balls, because the thing was, when I was writing this, I was thinking like not Gohan, Goku and Goten have never really had too much time, because Goten came in like the last arc of Z when Goku was dead, and then Goku came back and he was like little, and you had this like a couple of interactions.
Well, Goten was around. Wait, yeah, he wasn't in the Cell Saga.
No, Goten wasn't.
That's
born.
right. Yeah, he wasn't.
So
yeah,
he didn't come until the Boo Saga, and by that point Goku was dead, and then he did come back, but they never had a whole lot. So I was thinking it'd be kind of fun if it was Goten, but then you get these really cool moments between the two, because they've never really had too much time together. Like what if
they
if
never
they could,
had the father-son time that Gohan had.
yeah, and then at the same time we could see Goten like improving on battling and whatnot. I don't think I mean, besides GT, like we don't see Goten do a whole lot besides the fusing in Boo, and then what he would do in in GT.
Yeah, and
We could see him get to become a better fighter and everything.
that it just goes against Toriyama's idea of character development. Is they exist and that's enough.
Yeah, Toriyama's idea is that if their name isn't Goku or Vegeta, they get 1 minute to shine, and they get to sit on the bench for the rest of the time.
That's right. They get their ass beat by henchmen or Cybermen, or a tree, and then Goku has to come in and fight that tree.
Exactly.
But not even to market like the ages of all of the different characters don't line up. When you look at Z, and then this is supposed to take place after GT, and it's like Goten is like a young adult, but like
Well, Goten's like a teenager, like, or he seems like a late teenager or something. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, especially we were talking about. It's like, oh, the sub said it was like 5 years, but the dub said it's 10 years. But like, if it's 10 years, like some of this doesn't work that well. Like, Gohan doesn't look like he's changed all that much since the end of Z.
exactly, and Bulma doesn't.
Bulma ages greatly through the show. Bulma found a way to somehow like cure of aging.
and it's like Trunks doesn't look like he aged at all.
No.
In any way.
Well, and I mean, like, to be fair, like, Trunks was like a kid at the end of Z, so if it were like 10 years, I mean, like, okay, he's the president of the corporation or whatever, I guess 10 years could work, but I like look wise, like, it seems more like 5, I guess.
It just doesn't. It's like, how in that time did Goten and Pan grow up like that, but then in the same amount of time Trunks is like not?
Exactly.
And it's like you can't even say, oh, it's because he's like a half Saiyan, because like you look at Goku, and from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, he aged.
Yeah.
Like, he aged he was an adult at the end of Dragon Ball. Spoilers. If you haven't seen this,
Spoiler.
20-year-old, 20-plus-year-old, and 30 years, isn't it at this point? Almost.
When did Dragon Ball come out?
Oh, I don't remember.
Wasn't it like the 80s, or was it like the late 70s? I don't know. It's old.
Is old. Is super old.
He's looking this up right now.
I am, for the sake of continuity. 86. Oh my god.
86.
It's almost 40 years old.
Wow.
It is 34. It's 30.
Next year is the 35th anniversary.
It's 34 years old.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
But anyway, to continue your notes. I have
No, it's
ranted
fine.
on the
I was
age of these characters. That doesn't matter.
It's okay. I was looking through my notes. I mean, like the first bit, like so it's like you have all this beginning leading up to what will become the baby arc. And but the thing is, the show like dances for so long just trying to get up to that point.
Like what are some like major bullet points that even come across while they're scattering through the universe?
No, so that's the thing is I'm looking through them. Let's see. There's this the the one note I have Mazu or Muzu or whatever they said. They go to this one planet where it's like a village of people, and I don't remember if it was because someone had a Dragon Ball or something, but basically they go here and there's like this one big frog monster that that needs like a wife or something, or he'll like eat the village people or something. And so basically their idea is that just to dress up Trunks like a woman and make Trunks the wife, and then that's it. That's one of the big things too. They did Trunks like so bad in this show because Trunks is like he just becomes the straight man in this in this group. He's like the babysitter because Goku's just fucking around being a kid. Pan is being an annoying little cunt, and then and then Trunks is Trunks is stuck, and Trunks is like the driver of the ship, and he's like, "Oh."
And like, I have to watch over all of these.
He went from one of the best characters in Z, at least in the Cell Saga, as a kid in Majin Buu arc, he's a kid, for sure. But he went from that to just being like a babysitter, and he doesn't even go like Super Saiyan or like anything until way later, and it's just like, it's just annoying.
It's kind of like, why did you bother introducing him so early?
Exactly. And then, like, there's another episode where, they're on, like, some sort of, like, a desert, like, poor planet. Or no, it's, like, all, like, where they end up, like, in depth or something like that. There's a lot of, like, because of, like, the businesses and everything.
Oh my god.
And so they're kind of stuck there for a while.
What a weird design idea. Just, like...
Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, that episode or two, however many it was.
Can you imagine just, like, Dragon Ball Z fucking in debt?
Exactly.
Goku's got to, like, get a job and, like, pay off his loan and save the planet from interest.
Exactly.
Because it really, it killed my interest.
I don't know what this note was supposed to be, but I made it, and this is back in my old notes. I wrote, "Your alien race is not unique or cool if all they do is repeat one word over and over again in each sentence." I don't know which race I was talking about, but I know it was definitely during that part.
If you know what race he's talking about,
like, which part of GT am I talking about with the beginning?
Right, that's your Easter egg for this episode. Go find out what Danny's talking about and put it in the comment section.
Yes. Okay, so this part. This is the part where they start, like, they basically start building up to what would become the Baby Saga, but one of the big things, and this is a huge issue that I have with the beginning part and then what will become the baby arc, is that there is like there's no legitimate antagonistic force, and then when there is, they're either really small or they get to this point where the show can't decide what it wants to do, so you end up with like you have like I wrote there's like a space cult, and they actually were like really cool, and then they mold into what did they manage to say? The Para brothers, Para, They do like it's like the three of them. I think it was. It was like they do like a weird like dance or whatever. Um, then they move on from that. There's like I'm trying. I'm going to my other page of notes.
A
Space
lot of notes.
Space cult got dumb. The main leader of the cult. Oh yeah. So then you have like the main leader of the cult, because then it's like, is he the bad guy? But then it's like, then he has like a whip that he does, like a magic whip, and then that turns into a monster, and that's the main like enemy for a second. It does. It does do that, and then yeah. So okay. So I wrote this down. So a problem I have is the focus on the antagonist keeps shifting. You had the Para Brothers, then it was the main like cult guy, then it was the monster. Now it's another person behind the scenes. It's just like it kept shifting, and it's just like, okay, who is the actual bad guy? 'Cause it always felt like there's someone behind the curtain, like doing this, but then there's another person behind the curtain.
There's a lot of curtains.
And then when he's fighting, there's another person behind the curtain. And then after however long, we finally get to Dr. Mew, who is
yeah.
another person behind the curtain. But this guy was actually really cool. He's sort of like this mad scientist kind of guy. There was something about his design that was just genuinely like kind of interesting. I don't remember how he was voiced in like the dub. But in the sub he had sort of like this like, I don't know why he always looked like he'd be like a weird like you know, like those like radio shows like, yeah, tune into Radio 5 News or something. It's always like he kind of looked like he'd have that kind of a
Yeah.
voice. Which for clarity's sake, I watched the sub, by the way. I want to make this very clear, is that they only had the sub available on Hulu, so that's where I watched it, was the sub. So
Yeah, if you want to watch the dub, guess what? It's only available on Funimation.
yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, so I should have made that clear in the beginning. I do apologize. Is that I only watched the sub, which I've on record said that I do not care for the sub of Dragon Ball. So that made this experience very great.
You mean the really cringy line writing?
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, that's Dr. Mew. Chris was just pulling up a picture of Dr. Mew. Well, he looks cool, right? He's an interesting design. He's got this weird like scientist sort of thing with him.
I mean, it's very reminiscent of Dr. Gero
Whoa.
without being like in the same kind of crazy doctor way.
Yes. And we'll get into that in a second.
He's got
so-
the same mustache.
He does. So they have all that. Let's see. Okay, then they move on for a little bit.
And so all of this so far is just while they're looking for these,
This is all while they're finding those stupid Dragon Balls.
Yeah, like, this is the whole. They're just bouncing around planets. and
Yes.
doing these things.
You had the Sigma Squad that became a thing.
Sigma Squad, where we at?
All I wrote was that the Sigma Squad and it's less than the Ginyu Force. And then you had
Ginyu Force is superior.
Oh, of course they are. Then you had General Rill, which I actually thought was a really cool idea for a bad guy, because his whole thing was like, he was this really strong bad guy, but then he had this ability to shapeshift with metal,
Yes.
so he could kind of like go into like the ground or into the buildings or whatever. So there was this interesting fight that he was having with Goku.
It was a cool villain. It was a cool, interesting villain concept that just felt different than most everything else that we've seen.
Yeah, and by this point I wrote it's the first creative fight in the show. Is just him, like, because he keeps jumping between stuff, like capturing Goku, and Goku has to work it out, and then it just kind of cuts off. I was just kind of left the note. I was like, so we're just not gonna see him anymore. Like, that really wasn't a satisfying end or anything.
How did the end?
That's the thing. So I'm trying to remember, because I'm looking at my old phone still. From what I remember was that, because there was like a whole thing where I think they were captured. I think it was like Trunks and Goku were captured, and this was the planet with like Dr. Mew and everything. It was like a cyber planet almost, and if I remember correctly, I think it was Pan who had to like break them out or something. Um, I think that's what it was because I'm trying to look at the notes, right? Yeah, because Trunks got turned to stone by the robots and everything.
Oh, that's right. His name was Rildo.
Rildo?
General Rildo.
It's-
I wish I was making it up.
oh no. Maybe it was Rilled in the subtitle then or something, because I have it as
No,
Rilled.
no, I know. The because it'd be Rildo.
Rildo.
So you wouldn't really hear the O so much.
Oh,
But in
okay.
in can you imagine in the what I had to listen to with the fucking the dub?
Mm-hmm.
Rildo.
Yeah, okay, so Trunks, yeah, Trunks had sacrificed himself for Pan to get Pan out of there, but I said that that's a stupid decision because Trunks was a better fighter anyway, and it's like he could have helped Goku with the fight with Rilled or Rildo, but I believe it was Pan that would end up getting them out, if I remember correctly. Obviously, there was the whole thing with like the little robot companion, who is also a really annoying character for a good long while. I think I honestly stopped getting annoyed with him just because by that point I had gotten numb with it. It was just like whatever. And then we do finally get to Baby being introduced.
Yes.
And this is where the show picks up. So this is what I'm going to say this, right? I'm going to talk a lot of trash on GT, but I am going to say this. The Baby Saga is genuinely a really cool concept and a really cool idea for the show. I think anything to do with Baby as a character, like when he's like introduced and he's in like the little tube and everything, something about it just feels really unsettling and really weird.
Because well, like first off, this is where the juice of this podcast is gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna pick up. It's been marinating up to this point.
Yeah.
But we're gonna flow. So I agree. You know, like it has this very alien, but not like Dragon Ball alien.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh, he's a weird guy from another place. It's like the way they're very subtle with Baby at first, and it's like it's just, what is it? Like, what the fuck is this gonna be? This is weird. And then, like, you're seeing it, and it's like clearly building up to something. And it's a more interesting build up compared to everything else in GT so far.
No, and that's the thing is like everything else in GT is just kind of feel like it was like trying to buy time for something, and so we finally get to Baby, and it's like, wow, this is a really neat design, really cool look. He ends up getting out, and like, where is it? Yeah, and then Mew ends up dying. For now, but we'll get into that.
But wait.
And then we end up finding out that Baby has this ability where he kind of like can jump into bodies.
Through open wounds.
Yeah, and
Which is like really crazy as a concept, considering the show's about fighting, and there are injuries.
yeah, and they play it up more and more as it goes along because Baby ends up like getting away.
And he has like this liquid metal form that he
Yeah,
does.
he like can, because he has like a one like kind of like form, but he can mold. He kind of turns into like liquid, and kind of like that's how he gets into bodies and whatnot. And I was saying this is like actually a really cool thing because it ends the show from here. Like it takes this, he does this for a moment when he reaches the group, like the three of them. But what ends up happening is that he ends up getting away, and he ends up crashing on Earth. And it becomes this whole thing. It becomes very Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And it's a really cool thing that the show does. And when he gets to Earth, Goku and Pan and Trunks are still out in space trying to get the stupid Dragon Balls.
Yeah, so it's like at this time the Earth is still ticking,
The Earth is still just chilling out.
waiting for the year to be over to explode.
Exactly.
This is all happening at the same time.
And for the record, I don't think they made it clear how much time had passed at this point. when baby had landed. I can imagine it had been some time, but it didn't really show the passage of time.
It's like you don't need to know.
Exactly.
You don't. All you need to know is that he's here.
Basically.
Boom.
But yeah, so baby ends up going like he ends up fighting actually Goten and Gohan at one point, and he's jumping from body to body, and it's actually a super interesting idea because he's trying to find, a powerful body to suit him. Let me try to figure it out. Where was it? Yeah, and then it ultimately we end up finding out is that each body that he inhabits he and then leaves, he actually is leaving like an egg or a little piece of him in it. So then he leaves, I think it was Goten at least, and then he ends up in Gohan, but then he ends up trying to find Vegeta because Vegeta is the most powerful one on Earth at this point. And he ends up using Gohan to fight, and then Goten comes in, and then he ends up controlling both because Goten has like the egg or whatever is in him. So Vegeta ends up having to fight like two of these guys. And it's interesting because then at that point he's got like all sorts of different like puppets and everything, and what ends up happening, he ends up beating Vegeta and takes Vegeta, and at that point I think it's like he does something where basically starts radiating like waves across the globe, and then the next episode is when Goku and the gang have finally found all the Dragon Balls, which, yeah, they did finally find all the balls.
Wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get to that part. They got all the balls, and then...
But, like, when Baby takes over Vegeta, the like, initial appearance looked really cool.
It did. I did like, cause, and it was funny with Vegeta was that it doesn't go like all the way to what it would end up becoming. It starts with like just like the eyes and like the hair,
little lines on the face.
Yeah,
and it's like this cool subtle, like, feels very tribal.
Yeah,
it's very different, and it was like that's a cool aesthetic.
It is a really cool aesthetic. Oh, and then of course, before I go any further, the other thing we end up finding out through Vegeta actually, because it turns out Vegeta actually knows what this thing is, as far as like the race and whatnot. And at first I was like, oh no, so then is Baby not going to be like a special? Oh no, it's this whole people and everything. What it ends up being is that there was a race of people. I think it was like the Susfarian or something. I don't know what the name was. It was like TSUFA. I think it was Susfarian or something. I couldn't tell. Again, I was watching the sub, so I could never get like a full on pronunciation of it. Basically, though, was that they were a race of people that were conquered and eliminated by the Saiyans.
Because their race is the Tuffle race.
Okay, it was not Tuffle in the sub, that's for sure.
Either Tuffle or Truffle. But the idea is it was like that was the name of the race in the dub.
Okay, I was gonna say it was not that in
but
the
I'm pretty
sub.
sure it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
It just had like it was like the Japanese
something like that.
Translation of what it would be. Yes, Tuffle race. That is confirmed.
Okay. We'll call him the Tuffle
It
race.
It is. I have the facts.
But that's not what. Anyway, so they were a race of people that were eliminated by the Saiyans. And so Baby is actually a creation by them to essentially invade and infect another race of people to basically recreate their race. And so Vegeta ends up knowing this and kind of laughs at it, and then Baby is like, no, fuck you, and he takes him out. And then what ends up happening in the next episode is that Goku, Trunks, and Pan come back, and pretty much everyone in the entire world has been taken over by Baby, and it's just really interesting because it's like there's not a single person that he can trust. He comes home and it's like Chi-Chi and Videl that are there, and then they end up trying to like fight him, and then like Pan, of course, because it's because she's Gohan Videl's kid. It's like, Mama, why are you doing it? And she's like, shut up. It's and then Trunks is actually the first one to figure out what is going on, because he goes home and he's like, "What?" And then Vegeta, baby, ends up coming out and he's like, "What?" And then baby reveals that, oh, like he left an egg because he had briefly taken over Trunks, and that's actually how we kind of figured out that he was taking over people back in their first encounter. So he's like, I've left something in too, and so he ends up taking over Trunks, which sucks.
And it's just like, oh shit, baby's been playing the long game for this.
He has, and it's so then you end up with just Goku, Pan, and then oh my god, I haven't even talked about them. Mr. Satan and Majin Buu. And basically, it's established that Satan's been hiding in Majin Buu this whole time. So he's like he was like the last normal person before the three came back, and then Majin Buu he is immune to whatever the baby thing is. Like I think
the Tuffle parasites.
Yeah, like he basically like coughed up the parasite or something like that. It's like, well, can't get me.
Can't get bubblegum, boy.
Yep. So then Pan ends up going with them, and then Goku ends up having to fight basically his whole family. He ends up having to fight Gohan and Goten, and you have this whole like dilemma of not wanting to hurt them, but then also needing to hurt them.
And it's an interesting change, because it's like, it's not just another villain that's like, I am really powerful and I'm gonna destroy the earth, and it's like, and they punch each other till one of them dies. It's like there have to be thought processes, there have to be decisions. It's like, if I fight them, I'm probably gonna kill the people that I'm kind of trying to defend here.
Exactly. Even when he starts fighting Baby and Vegeta's body, even that, it's like he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to like destroy Vegeta's body or anything, but it's like he's being pushed to that point, and it is a really interesting dilemma.
Could not kill the Prince of all Saiyans.
And then this ends up continuing on. Pretty much Goku ends up almost getting destroyed. He's saved at the very last second by the Supreme Kais. And they're just kind of like, oh shit, man, like we need to figure this out right now.
They're like, oh shit, dog, what happened?
Shit.
Good luck though.
And then basically what ends up happening is, so Goku and them bring back all the Black Star Dragon Balls. They bring them to Dende, who is also controlled by Baby, and they basically use the Black Star Dragon Balls. They use as a wish to wish for a new planet, the Tuffle People's planet. Basically wish for a new version of it, and they get it, and so it's this like this planet that's just right by Earth, and so
just right next door,
right there, and pretty much they because they have like Bulma and the other people under control, they end up getting these large, like mothership rocket kind of thing to basically transport everybody over to the planet. And it's just weird because you see like all these other characters that seem like at this point they're all like acting normal, like Krillin and 18 and like all these other people that are just acting normal, but it's like, no, they're under control, but they're just happy to be part of the Tuffle people and everything. It's just loving it.
Happy to be here.
And then I don't think Goku was in this. I think Goku was still with like the Saiyans, or the Saiyans, the Kais, but Pan, yes, oh yeah, so Pan, Satan, and Majin Buu end up jumping onto that ship to get up there. They use Majin Buu, like they stay inside Majin Buu, and he just kind of gets on. Yeah, of course, right? Of course, Majin Buu. Why not? And they end up getting up there, and we'll pull out my notes real quick. There was, because they get to the planet. Yeah, they end up getting to the planet, and it's funny because by this point Pan did start to actually get better. Like she was pretty annoying like up until like the baby arc, and she started to get better. And then it's funny, she at this point, especially when she's on her own, like with like Mr. Satan and whatnot, she has these moments where she's actually kind of like being likable. Smart, being likable. And then there's this one part where they end up revealing themselves, and like and then Pan sees Gohan and Videl, and is like, "Mama, Papa," and they end up like beating the shit out of her. Like seriously, like they're like they
Flashbacks.
they because they're under baby's control, obviously, but it's like she gets like
Scarred for life.
strangled and whatnot by them, and it's like even I'm watching this and it's like, damn shit.
Toei's just like, no, we're gonna fuck him up.
Toei's just like, nah, go the whole mile. I had to record that in the notes just because I was like, oh my god, like you guys aren't playing around now. And then, oh yeah, and then somehow Oob ends up getting there. Don't ask how because it's on the other planet. This is not on Earth. They're on the other planet. Oob kind of gets there.
Yeah, Majub.
Yeah, Oob, the good reincarnated Boo.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, and then Majin Buu actually ends up sacrificing himself to give Oob like his power and everything. And it's a sweet interaction, but it's also sad because it's like, no, not Majin Buu, like
Not the Majin Buu.
not the Majin Buu. This is okay. So this is kind of where the arc does start to get a little like
We're stretching it.
we're stretching it because I didn't mention
rolling it
because
out.
yeah, because like meanwhile while all this is happening, Goku. I'm not gonna go into it full depth, but basically when the Supreme Kai like saved him, I don't know if he like dropped him or something, but like Goku ends up in like this really weird like dimension where it's like, oh yeah, okay, so Supreme Kai was trying to save Goku. The blast because baby Vegeta. It's just like a little Vegeta. Baby ended up blasting this giant like energy beam called the Revenge Death Ball.
Ah, yes.
The Revenge Death Ball. But it was so powerful that I guess it warped Goku into some other dimension. I called it the Mario Party dimension because basically there's just some random like demon guy or whatever, or some like person or whatever, and basically Goku has to beat him at a game in order to get out of there. But the guy is obviously like cheating and everything. This is an entire episode, by the way, where Goku has to play this stupid ass game.
And it's literally like they wrote this.
Yes.
They were like, you know what would be interesting when this battle versus Baby who's possessing Vegeta and the fate of the world is counting down and everything. We'll just cut away for this little other episode and Goku play some games. Have a little we'll have
funny-
some relief for no reason.
Yeah.
And like completely like shatter the tension.
It really does. And then once they get beyond that, they end up going back to the the realm with the Supreme Kais and everything, and they take fucking forever. But it's just like they're trying to like basically grow out Goku's tail again, because if they grow it out, then he'll have all this power and everything. They could unlock something in him, and they stretch this for so long. And it's just funny because, again, the show isn't based off a manga or anything. It wasn't like they were waiting for the next chapter to be published or anything. So it's like, what are you stalling for? Like,
I think they're just building in the filler for themselves.
it's just
Like they're padding it out so they give themselves more time to animate.
it's just annoying because then it's like you were saying, it's like all this is happening. Like I imagine like, the Earth is gonna be exploding soon. Pan's just getting strangled by her parents over here. Meanwhile, Goku is like
Just laying down having a seizure.
Goku's like over here like trying to drink tea and have his tail pulled out, and it's like, oh yeah, funny times over here.
But it's like I'm pretty sure like it cuts back, and us almost like everything that happened was like in an instant, in like real time.
Yeah.
But in his head or wherever the fuck he was sent, whatever this was, felt as long as it was, but it wasn't actually real time that much time.
Right.
So it was just kind of like you kind of get hit in the head, and then you're like, I'm gonna go. You have like a little like a weird trip, but then it's only been like 10 seconds, but it felt like 20 years.
It's just
is-
weird.
it was-
It's like the pacing with this show, and I'm gonna get into the pacing like soon too, because the pacing is absolute dog shit in the show, with certain parts. But
Yeah, so
the
we're gonna try to keep our pacing.
yes, we're gonna keep
little
it
bit better.
But they end up going past that. Goku ends up coming back to he ends up going into the actual like the planet and everything, and he ends up fighting Baby for a bit, and he has his tail pulled out. And what ends up happening is that he ends up because of the way, like, because they're on the planet, so their Earth is right there. The way that like the Earth was lined up or something, he ends up looking at it at like the moon, and basically this turns him into a great ape. Don't ask how this works. It's like the Earth is not a moon.
Yep, it's just like this.
They,
This has always been the issue, though, because you remember in the Saiyan arc for Dragon Ball Z, when when Vegeta was fighting Goku, and Vegeta was like, "I need to go Great Ape form."
Yeah.
Vegeta just like throws a glowing ball of energy into the sky, and that was enough to trigger his Great Ape form. But when Gohan, not Gohan, sorry, when Gohan did it too, and Goku, when they looked at the moon, the same thing happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what is the triggering for? It's like, yes, the moon, but also maybe not exactly needing to be the moon.
Well, then here's the weird part too, is that they call it, and this is, I'll get into it in a second because I want to get to this part. So he turns like Great Ape, and then there's this entire episode where basically he's a Great Ape just wrecking shit.
Yep.
And it's this whole thing, and it ends with Pan being like, "Grandpa, like, it's me, Pan, stop this," and everything. And he ends up calming down, and this then because he has a, he has a way of like calming down everything. He ends up turning into Super Saiyan 4.
Yes, which the transition for is at least kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like it goes through, like, it kind of shows like this cycle of life in like a couple seconds of like Goku, crouching, fall, ball, ape thing, and then it's like, but they don't ever explain why he turned suddenly golden Great Ape.
That's the thing, yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, is it just because he's gone Super Saiyan at this point that his ape would also have Super Saiyan energy? I don't know. Because then, okay, we're going to come back to Super Saiyan 4. I'm going to talk about Super Saiyan 4 in a second. But what ends up happening is that Baby is all like, because he's in Vegeta's body, he's like, what, he could turn into, why can't I turn into that? And it's because Bulma, who's also under Baby's control, is like, oh, because you don't have a tail. Vegeta's body doesn't have a tail. And he's like, and then basically Bulma ends up using some sort of machine to amplify, I believe it was called Bruit's waves or something.
So yeah,
Basically the machine she uses it to amplify these waves that were the same waves that were coming from the not moon Earth that he used to turn into a Great Ape. These waves would then amplify and be shot at Baby using Vegeta's body. And this ends up actually turning Baby into a Great Ape as well. So,
I mean, the science is
the
there.
science. Let me tell you something about science.
So yes, Baby then goes golden Great Ape.
Yes, and so, but this was to answer your question. Was it the moon or anything? It's like, it's whatever waves apparently, but it's not just the moon. It can also be if you substitute the Earth for the moon.
But it's like if the substituting of the Earth was the moon, it's like if it was just like the shape and the light triggering it. It's like,
But then it's like later on, she tries to help Vegeta go Super Saiyan 4 and does the exact same machine, but it's in the daylight. So it's like, what did you use to amplify as the moon?
it's like, well, see, the real key is like if you just feel in like your left shoulder blade, there's like a little bit of an itch there. Just focus on that, and you go Great Ape.
Exactly.
That's just it. And you kind of, if you sneeze at a velocity that is faster than the rotation of the Earth, you go Super Saiyan. And that's, I mean, it makes sense with the rest of the Toriyama science of how Saiyan fucking
Obviously.
biology works.
But yeah, so that's what ends up. So so go back to backpedal a little bit. He turns into Super Saiyan 4. Super Saiyan 4 is cool. It's a really cool design. A lot of people love it. This is like the one thing that people really are like, just GT is good as Super Saiyan 4. It's cool. It's really powerful.
You can literally hear the underwhelmness in your voice as you're talking about.
Because it's like, it took so long to build up to, and like in this fight, it's cool. but then afterwards it's very inconsistent because it's like what ends up like in this, because he has to transform into great ape and then he comes down from the great ape and it's like okay, but then like after this it's like he can just turn into Super Saiyan 4 like whenever. Like there's literally a point where he like is in a fight and he falls into like a lake and then he comes out of the lake and he's Super Saiyan 4. There's another point where he's like stopping a building from falling and he's like Kid Goku and he's like stopping it, and then he just instantly transforms into Super Saiyan 4, which is adult Goku body, by the way. He's going from Kid
Yeah,
Goku
I know,
into adult body.
was a
There's
very
no build up whatsoever. There's no like Dragon Ball typical like transformation yelling or anything. But then there's another point where there is where he does do the thing and he starts yelling and then he turns into Super Saiyan 4 and it's just like pick one.
but like the big mystery, and I've always struggled with it because they never say it. Why is it that Super Saiyan 1 through 3, Goku's physical body is still the kid, but somehow 4
It
pushes him to his normal body size.
and then he comes back.
But then after he powers down from 4, he's back to his kid body. And it's like the wished him to be like the kid. So why is it somehow this Super Saiyan 4 power is able to push him
Beyond the wish.
into an adult body?
And then he has to go back. No, I wrote that note too, and it's just like I don't get why, and they never explain.
Because imagine like you're like 6 feet tall, and then you go down to 3 feet tall, and then you're back to 6 feet. You're constantly bouncing between these heights.
It is,
and it's like, does that do anything to his body? Is he like just Super Saiyan 4? He's like, man, I'm a grown up again. I love it.
exactly.
Like it's so aesthetically, Super Saiyan 4 is cool.
But there's just a lot. Like if they were to announce, oh, we're gonna bring Super Saiyan 4 to the canon, there's a lot that they would need to work on, and there's a lot that needs to be reworked. I think that there's a lot that's just like, okay, if you're going to bring Super Saiyan 4, look at GT, like what it's set up, but take pieces of it and rewrite it and stuff. Just because it's like there's a lot of inconsistencies and it's a lot that just like doesn't make a lot of sense, like you were saying.
And that's what I think that they basically did with Broly, is because like the characteristics are similar to what Super Saiyan 4, like how he went Great Ape and then became Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
Is, the idea that they acknowledged in the Broly movie that Broly is basically tapping into the Great Ape's power without actually losing his physical Saiyan form.
Right.
Which is essentially what Super Saiyan 4 is why they got all the fur and the tail and that whole thing. And so it's like, I think they're trying to justify why that would work. As far as like if they bring it back, they have like at least an idea, a concept that could work for it.
And my thing is like I'm not at all against Super Saiyan 4. I think it's a really cool design. I think it's a really cool transformation. And I'm not against it at all, like if Toriyama wanted to give it the Broly treatment and bring it to the canon. I'm not against it at all. I just think there's a lot that would need to be fixed with it and would need to be rewritten about it. But I see why people like it. I see why people are like, oh, like if there could be one thing from GT to bring over to the canon, they would pick Super Saiyan 4. I don't blame them. It's cool. I just think there would need to be a lot done with it, but I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah. I think it's like when you watch too much GT and you kind of see what has been done with Super Saiyan 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like the initial reveal, you're like, okay, cool, new Super Saiyan form, awesome. But then everything following it, you're kind of just like,
yeah.
They really wish they kind of did more with it, did better.
No, and that's the thing is that because at this point I'm gonna speed through the rest of the baby arc, because this is where it's like, okay, the baby arc kind of has really stretched itself now we're like, beyond the really cool stuff with the body snatching and
we've hit the
baby
climax.
Everything. This is like, okay, now it's time to like get on with it. But they really pad it out. Like I said, baby, gets the little Bulma under Baby's control, does the Amplify machine. Baby and Vegeta's body turns into a great ape, even though Vegeta doesn't have a tail. Blah blah blah.
But it's like, okay, sure, why
Sure,
not?
why not? So there, and this is where it really starts, and it's gonna get worse. But
It's gonna get worse.
the fight between Baby and Goku, there is a lot of pausing. They stop several times to like talk or to see what another character is doing, and I'm not gonna act like Dragon Ball hasn't done that in the past, but in this, it is just really painful because it's like, oh my god, like just get on with it, and it feels like it gets really slow.
'Cause it's
And
like there's finally this moment of like the build up of like Goku being powered up in Super Saiyan 4 and then Baby somehow managing to kind of do the same concept.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, now we're gonna have these super powerful guys that have been like Baby's been fucking with everything, all this shit, and it's finally they're gonna clash and it's gonna be amazing. But what actually happens is that they keep cutting away and they pause and things
they do. There is an episode, I don't know which episode, but I wrote it's like there's an episode where literally Goku and Baby knock each other out, and they're just lying on the ground, and for 2/3 of it, it's just the Supreme Kai doing stuff, like running around and everything, and the two are just there. It's like, why did we need this? Like, why do you keep doing this? Like, just make it all one fight or something. Like, don't pad it out like this. But um all this ends up happening. Let's see. Oob returned from the dead to help. Oh yeah, Oob got like knocked out or something. He got knocked the fuck out. Um I swear my notes. I'm just looking through them and it's like, man, like I gotta like I give more context to some of my notes.
it's like Dragon Ball GT but out of context.
The final battle, it's just again, it's more pausing and it's just like it's exhausting because it's just like things just kind of happen, and then finally Baby is defeated. Goku did it, and then that's the end of the Baby arc because then like Baby ends up dying. They establish that they because it's oh yeah because the Supreme Kai, the whole thing is that they had like the magic holy water or whatever that expelled the baby parasite from people, and so that episode where they're running around, that's what they're doing.
Oh my god.
So when Baby is defeated, it shows them like doing that, giving it to all the people and everything, so they're all free of Baby. And it's like, oh man, it's all wrapped, that's the it for the arc. And basically what ends up happening after that for the rest of the show is just just random stuff. And I was talking to Chris, it's like I don't know if they knew how to end the show because we get like just random little mini plots. Like so right after Baby, it's that they end up remembering, oh no, what happened to the Black Star Dragon Balls? Oh, Dende used them to wish the planet or whatever. So they didn't actually get the Black Star Dragon Balls, so Earth's just gonna blow up because now it's been a year, and it's like, oh no. So then there's like a couple episodes of this where it's like they're trying to they get make sure everyone's off of Earth, and they go to the Tuffle planet copy or whatever.
Like literally, they this is like them literally returning to the plot that started the whole series.
They did.
And it's like it took this long. If you felt like this was trudging through just us talking about it over the last hour, it's like, can you imagine actually watching this?
It is,
and then they
honestly.
come back, they're like, oh, by the way, that's right.
Oh, by
we
the
had
way.
that plot.
But then it's
We
funny.
forgot about it.
But then it's funny because then what ends up happening is Earth actually does explode, and then immediately after that, there's just a narration cut over to Planet Namek, and it's like, oh, the people, the Namekians or whatever, used their Dragon Balls to wish Earth back to normal and wish everyone back to Earth and their homes and everything, and immediately cuts to Earth fine, everyone's normal, everything's fine.
It's just this immediate like it wasn't really a threat.
I literally,
Everything's fine.
I was angry because it was like, this was the whole thing with the Black Star Dragon Balls. You literally like, oh, it could be, it's fixed in like 2 seconds. Like what? Why?
Like, why couldn't we have just used Earth's Dragon Balls to do the same thing that Namek did?
Exactly. And like, if this was gonna be a backup plan, like, why was there this like need to travel across the galaxy and everything? It was just like, okay, I
It
guess.
just immediate. It just felt like this immediate, not retcon, but like
What it clean up.
it was just like, okay, yeah, well, that thing we're worried about for the last like, I don't even know how long this went for.
This went for many an episode.
So it's like all of since we found out Earth was gonna explode. It's like, you remember that thing? Okay, well, we had a plan for that, so we're just gonna wish it to have not happened.
And it was the fact that it wasn't even like characters or anything. It was the narrator that was just like, and then the Earth blew up, but the Namekians used their Dragon Balls to fix everything and bring the Earth back. It was just like, really? You couldn't have this be like actual like show or anything? Like, no, 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 no. We'll just sum it up with a narrator. Like, it was just dumb.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, we kind of blew up Earth. What do we do?
What do we do?
Like, oh crap, how do we bring it back? Oh, we have the plot device that you created since the first Dragon Ball episode.
Exactly.
Is this thing that can literally just make anything happen.
Exactly. It's
Nothing.
just-
That's why it's like, but then that's like the Dragon Ball franchise issue.
it is.
Is like nothing is permanent. Everything can be changed.
Yeah.
Death means nothing. Like, the Earth has blown up, not only this time, but it was gonna be blown up by Boo.
Which it was blown up.
And then they fucking blew up in the Resurrection F movie.
Yep.
And it's just like, and it literally shows every single time what happens after Earth explodes. It doesn't. And we just kind of rewind a little bit. And it's just like, anything that felt like a threat just doesn't.
It does. Honestly.
God damn it.
No, but then
So-
it gets better because then immediately after this, we get this one episode tournament arc. It's just one episode where they do this random little tournament, and it was like, all right, cool, a Dragon Ball tournament. Haven't seen one of these, but it's only for like one episode, so I don't know what. Like, it was just like, okay,
Just
cool.
like a nod, like, hey guys, you remember when we did this?
Remember, and then we get to another mini arc. Basically, we find Dr. Mew in hell, and then he woohoo, and then he and it's funny that you brought it up earlier. He joins with Dr. Gero. It's like, yeah, the two like form an alliance and basically say that they are going to open the doorway between the real world and hell, and
Why not?
unleash all of these villains and whatnot and kill Goku and take over the real world. And at first I was like, oh shit, this could be really fucking cool, because then they show like all these like villains from before coming back. Like, they show like the Ginyu Force, they showed Cooler at one point, they showed like some of the other androids. Like, it was like, oh my god, like this could be actually really cool. And then Goku ends up going into hell to find Dr. Mew and Dr. Gero, who, real quickly, just to show what they're doing, is that they have basically, the way they formed the portal here is that they used Android 17 in the in the real world, and then they built a better copy of Android 17 in hell and used the two to open the gates.
He used his like oldest existing Android model,
Yes.
like literally 18 is like a more advanced Android. He had built 19. And yeah, they're destroyed, but it's like he still had the awareness that he built a better Android that was superior. Mm-hmm. Like, mechanically superior. But he's like, nah, we'll do 17.
We'll do 17.
Because he's still alive.
Yeah.
Well, we can use that.
So they basically do that. Goku goes into hell to find them. They basically pull a fast one, close the gate, get out of hell. They leave Goku in hell. And then when Goku's in hell, he ends up finding Cell and Frieza. And so they build up. It's like, oh man, there's going to be this big showdown between those three. Meanwhile, all this shit's going down and everyone's down there without Goku. And I was thinking, like, okay, this could be really cool. Like, this could be happening over here. And then, like, we could show, like, the other, other characters, like Gohan and Trunks and Goten. facing off against these OG like bad guys, and like we could show like some of these other fighters who haven't even gotten that much time, show them squaring up and taking out some of these villains, that could have even had killed them before, and it's like that would be something cool. They don't do that. No, instead they have, well, okay, I will say this. They have this really cool part where 17 it's the one of our world where they basically goes to find 18, who's with there with Krillin, and he's like, come with me, and almost like takes control of 18. But Krillin ends up snapping her out of it, and I was like, hey, like 17, like stop, like you're good. And you kind of see for a second it's like, oh, maybe 17's under control, and then immediately 17 kills Krillin, and
It's like, what?
like legit kills Krillin, which obviously Dragon Ball death, haha, whatever, but it's still
No,
like,
but it's like point blank,
like
out
shoots
of nowhere.
it is, and it straight up kills Krillin, and then this sets 18 off on a like screaming rage. Like she becomes like so like scary powerful all of a sudden. I don't know what the dub did as far as like what she sounded like or how she reacted, but in the sub, like she was like screaming, like screaming at 17, freaking like blows him through a building and whatnot. Immediately I was like, oh shit.
It was fucking amazing.
Like eight, like this is like the most like I've seen 18 do in a long time as far as fighting, as far as like it was just like, oh my god. Like
You killed the one thing that made her happy.
yeah. And then
And
what ends up happening, I mean, he doesn't end up getting 18, but they have a huge fight. 18 ends up dying as well, but next to Krillin, which is, better than her end up under control with 17, but it was that, okay, I will say that was pretty damn cool in this one little arc. But beyond that, so basically I call them the Z Fighters, but the Z Fighters, like the Z
they
Fighters
call
of
themselves the Z Fighters.
yeah, the Z Fighters of this show, so not like Yamcha and Tien and everyone else. No, it's
What, are you telling me that you think that they don't think Yamcha would be useful in these scenarios?
but I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if it was those guys, but if it was like Yamcha, but like if they were strong enough to take on people like the Ginyu Force or any of these other people, like I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Wolf Fang Fist, am I right out there? Yamcha fans?
Honestly,
Comment below for Yamcha.
poor Yamcha fans. But what ends up happening is they end up having to fight 17, but then the two 17s, the one of the real world and the one that was made in hell, end up fusing and create this horrible, disgusting abomination called Super 17. And I
God.
hate the design. Super 17 is super, like, stupidly powerful, and it is really cool, but, like, my god, the design is disgusting. He has, a forehead for days. His hair looks really weird. He's got, like, 6-foot long legs. Basically whoops everyone's ass until Goku gets there. And meanwhile, Goku is going to have this crazy showdown with Cell and Frieza, and you're thinking, oh man, the fight of the century, here we go. It's like a few punches, a couple energy blasts, Goku gets sent to like a deeper layer of hell, and then like fucking he breaks out of like, it's like an ice world or something, he gets frozen, and then he breaks out, and then ends up freezing Cell and Frieza. And that's it. The fight is the
There it
most.
is.
It is so underwhelming. It was. I should have expected it, and part of me was like bracing for it, but it was just like, of course, you took the one thing that could have been like really cool for like Z fans. It's like, oh man, these two big bad guys teaming up, and it's like, nope.
Nope.
Even like at the very least, it could have been like, oh, like if there could have been some really good like banter between Cell and Frieza, or some really like, how would the two interact? And we don't even get that. I think we get like
we get nothing interesting out of what could have been a very interesting.
I think we could have like maybe got like a sentence or two from that whole like those two being on screen together, but it was like, really, you couldn't do anything?
Cause like we saw it and it was cool. During the Boo arc in Z, where Goku is fighting, and you see everybody, all of his
Yeah.
villains
In hell.
watching him, and some of them are like, yeah, go get him. Other people are like sort of concerned how strong he's gotten, and then others are just like, ah, fuck, I can take him.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, fucking, hopefully he kills Goku. Fuck that guy.
Because, like, what? Okay, when you see villains team up, what's the best part of it? It's not just them fighting the hero together. It's how they interact with one another. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's one of the best things. Like, even even if it was this stupid little fight or whatever, but we had really good banter with the two, I would have been fine. But no, they're
you
just
see-
there.
Because you see all of, I mean, just the fact that these are, like, the main villains are just all these arc villains from Z. Like, Cell being as arrogant and is like, I'm basically the best and that is it. And as powerful as he got, like when he got the Super Saiyan energy from when Goku blew up and Cell reformed, and Cell basically just became like the most powerful thing
Yeah.
ever. And then Gohan was like, "No, you."
No, you.
So seeing Goku again after the whole Boo thing and how strong he had gotten, and being able to see him again in GT in person is like, you think there would have been something there, if not a lot of things.
Seriously. And imagine, like, Cell's personality bouncing off of Frieza, like, as arrogant and stuff as Frieza is. Like, that... I don't know why they didn't do that. Why is that not the first thing you think of?
Yeah, like Frieza basically being like, I'm the most powerful thing ever.
And then Cell
just
also...
being like, okay.
And then Cell being like, no, I am, and I can prove it.
And then they take turns beating up Goku, and it could be like a whole thing with the banter, and then Goku's just like, you know.
No, you.
Yeah.
They could have done that, but they don't. They just kind of get wasted.
It's basically just like a nod, like an homage. It's like, here's a reference. You remember these guys from way back when?
It is, and it's just so, like, why? And then what ends up happening is that, pretty much they're able to open the portal back up. I forgot to mention it just because I forgot, but when Earth had blown up, Piccolo ended up dying. Actually dying for real. Mainly because he said, like, oh, like, if he dies, then, like, the Dragon Balls... I think he was referring to the Dragon Balls, or he might have been referring to the Black Star. I genuinely don't know, but he's like, oh, if I die, then the balls will be destroyed as well, and this will never happen again.
Yeah, because he had a connection with Kami,
Yeah.
and
So then it was... But, okay, so then he
but
was...
that's-
But, okay, I want to... Was he talking about the regular Dragon Balls then?
Yeah.
Because... Then I'll bring this up when we get to it.
I think so, because, and of course, let us know if we're wrong,
please.
because if you can keep up with the lore of GT, congratulations, you did it.
Yes, honestly.
But no, because there was a point where Piccolo, I think he fused with Kami,
Yes, it was.
something?
I remember that in Z was that they did fuse. I remember that.
and at that point, if Piccolo died, Kami would also die.
Yeah.
Hence, the Dragon Balls would not exist.
Okay.
I think that's kind of trying to imply the same thing, but the circumstances aren't the same.
Yeah.
Because Dende is technically the
Because he
the
ends up
guardian of
becoming.
Earth.
Yeah, because he ends up
Right?
becoming it.
but then he's also left on New Namek.
No, Dende's on Earth and in GT.
Timelines.
Oh yeah, of course.
So okay, so I think that's what they're trying to say here,
Yeah.
but they're not trying. They don't take a minute to justify why that's the thing. They're just like, yeah, this if Piccolo dies, it's all over.
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure he doesn't die.
Exactly. But ends up so Piccolo died when the Earth exploded. Blah blah blah. Come back to here. Piccolo is over in heaven. He's like, hey, because like he's stuck in hell or whatever. Piccolo basically says like, okay, I'll go down to hell and open the portal, and then it's like, but if you go, then you'll never leave hell. And Piccolo's like, all right, cool. And so Piccolo ends up going down there.
I love that they have a path for that. Like if you're upstairs and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to party down there. but you never come back upstairs. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you just take the slide.
Basically,
And
the
it's
little
just
like
like-
it's like the little McDonald's play place, like the
It
fun
is, but
slide.
it's like, why is this an option?
Exactly.
Like, what the fuck? What if you accidentally go down?
Honestly, what if you clicked the wrong button?
Oops.
Oops.
Oops, all hell.
But Piccolo ends up going down there. He forms the portal with Dende to open it between the two worlds. Goku ends up going back, but Piccolo ends up staying in hell. And Goku comes back down. He turns Super Saiyan 4 and fights Android and Super Android 17, who by this point also had killed and betrayed Dr. Gero and Mew. I felt bad for Dr. Gero because this is like the second time where he was betrayed by his androids,
Yeah, you think he would stop building them?
or would find a way to build a better like intel on them to where they wouldn't betray.
Well, that's the thing. That's why 19, the little pudgy
Yeah.
one, yeah, that one was completely obedient. But he decided, it's a better one to rebuild.
We'll do the one that hated me.
and actually was part of the two that tried to kill me way back when. And I think actually, yeah, they did. They were the ones that actually killed him.
Yeah.
So it's like, Dr. Gero, bro, fucking,
What the fuck is wrong with
you
you?
literally did the same thing you did.
He did, and he got blown up, and I'm like, Jiro, like really?
You're your own meme.
Exactly.
Like, God, so it's like, yeah, he had the capability of building an android that wouldn't betray him, but he decided to use that to betray him, that could betray him, and just going off of good faith. But he's like a genius.
I know.
Yet
He's.
he didn't foresee this outcome.
You know what? I'm somewhat of a scientist myself.
That's what they said to each other in hell. They were like,
They did.
Dr. Mio.
You know, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. But anyway, so Goku ends up fighting 17. 17 is super powerful. Ends up absorbing a lot of that energy that Goku blasted him. This fight goes on a little way too long than it should have, and Goku ends up winning. I think 17 just ends up like blowing up, right? Like 17's like exploded and gone.
Pretty much.
And then let me just pull up the notes just to make sure. Yeah, everything kind of just goes back to normal after that. All the villains that had come to invade the Earth or whatever were defeated off screen and sent back. So like you see like the line to like the guy who like sends them to heaven or hell or whatever.
Yeah.
You see like everyone in there, like the Ginyu Force and everything, and it's like, oh, okay, not that I wanted to see that or anything, I guess, but
It's
fine.
like, man, we don't want. Like, we want to show them that we're doing these cool things, but we don't really want to pay to animate all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna imply that it happened,
Exactly.
and it's like, who beat the Ginyu Force? Yeah, they were beaten.
But it's like,
But who did Tien and Yamcha team up and with Chaozu and?
what about Cooler? Because they showed Cooler. It's like, who defeated Cooler?
But I like how they bring in a character who, in itself, was non-canon
Yeah.
to be in a show where they're like, oh, look at Cooler, but it's like, well, he was never around technically in the show, so this is confusing.
Yeah. And then from there, they move on to the final arc of GT.
Yes, which
The
is exhausting.
This
getting
is-
to this point.
seriously,
in the
I mean, if
show.
you're, I'm already exhausted talking about it thus far, but like, no. So now we have the Shadow Dragon arc, which, so okay, so
with a name like that, it's got to be good.
right? So then if this raises the question now, if Piccolo was to die and would bring the Dragon Balls, why didn't the Dragon Balls just get destroyed then?
Because plot.
That was the whole thing. Piccolo said he was going to die to take the Dragon Balls with him, but here we are, the Dragon Balls are still here.
And Piccolo's just trapped in hell, and he's like, I thought that would work.
Well, shit.
Well, shit, hey Goku, you're gonna have to figure this shit out, man. That
Like,
fucking-
literally, and I love Piccolo to death. Like, he's one of my, like, favorite characters just from, everything. So, like, seeing this, it's like, oh, alright, cool, so he's just gonna be in hell for no fucking reason, I guess. Like, alright. But basically, just to get through this arc, basically, all the Dragon Balls are now cracked, and they get all the Dragon Balls to do something with them, and they're all cracked, and it's like, huh, that's a little funny. No, it's fine. Just summon Shenron, and basically they try to use them, and pretty much all of these like all this negative energy and comes out, and there's this one dragon that basically says like, oh, you guys have used the Dragon Balls too many times, and now there's a giant buildup of negative energy in the balls, so now we're just gonna destroy the earth with all this negative energy built
All
up.
these bad vibes, man.
Yeah, apparently each wish that they've made with the Dragon Balls created a bunch of negative energy, which is
Because
really.
they're all selfish wishes.
But
And so,
okay, but what about the times when they wished for everyone to be alive again, like when they blew up the world or anything like that?
those are bad vibes, man.
It's like, what-
Don't you think, man? You think these are good things?
It's it's just funny. Like they try to say that that's all the negative energy, but it's like I don't think they were all like negative wishes or anything.
Yeah, like 80% of the wishes was bring Goku back to life.
Like legit.
And it's like, what's the other ones? Bring everyone else back to life. And hey, give the Namekians a whole new planet because Frieza kind of fucked that up.
Exactly.
And
What
it's
was
like-
selfish about this?
And it's like, what else did we wish for? Oh, it didn't happen until Super. So
I was
it
gonna
doesn't
say
count.
there's like super like
that was that was kind of a waste of a wish.
yeah.
I mean, they needed it, but it's kind of like we summoned the dragon because we wanted to ask him a question.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway,
Anyway, so basically, there's all the Dragon Balls like separate and go to different parts of the world, each releasing a different dragon, a shadow dragon monster, and basically Goku has to go and fight him. Pan goes along with him, who by this point actually is decent. Pan isn't too bad at this point. I think
they've kind of been figuring out. her
they've kind of
character.
figured it out. They kind of figured out Pan. Either that or I've just become numb at this point. But Pan wasn't that bad in this part, at least what I can remember. And basically every episode becomes this cycle where they go to a place, they try to find Dragon Ball, they find the big dragon who has the Dragon Ball, they gotta fight the dragon, they defeat the dragon, they get the ball. Next episode. Or this takes 2 episodes and they gotta go to the next one.
And so literally, these are like the physical manifestations of the wishes in some form, and they're these literal dragon humanoid creatures
Yes.
that are like human sized.
Well,
relatively.
there's one that's like a little pterodactyl that's just is kind of like tiny sized until he like feeds on electricity and makes himself bigger. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
But like so it's like each ball is like this creative on quotation marks. We drew it. Monster dragon thing that they have to get the ball back from, basically, and defeat.
Yes.
And so we can all see how many Dragon Balls exist.
There's
There's 7.
7.
And so how many episodes do you think this is going to take? You're right. 40.
Like literally, it's the rest of the show does this, and
It's
I'm not
literally-
gonna go into specifics on the entire arc. It's just like every episode is like this.
No, I mean, you
It's
summed
like-
it up. You summed it up. It's literally, we got to go find the Dragon Ball and fight the dragon that has it. And they're each like they're different than each other, you know. They're all unique compared to the other dragons that possess the balls. So, you know, they're different.
You know, like honestly, and it's like I'm just looking through my notes, and it's like, yeah, I can see how bored I was. There was the only point that I genuinely remember was this point. It was at the end of one of them where it was the one that was like the water dragon, but it was like where all the fishermen were like, oh, it's the queen, it brings us all the fishes or whatever, and it was that dragon. I don't remember if it was like the 5-star one or 6-star or something. basically at the end of it, because all the seagulls were afraid to like fly or whatever, basically once they're defeated, all the seagulls come out, it's all happy, but they didn't bother to animate it. It's just stills of seagulls, and then they start to fly. And I wrote, and it was like, this show legit just did a PowerPoint presentation of a flock of seagulls flying, because there's literally no animation to it. And I'm like, dude, did you blow your budget on like the what, like this villain arc you just did? Like, you couldn't do seagulls?
Not too pricey. Bro, you imagine the $1 per seagull flap?
Oh yeah, of course.
Jesus.
It's just funny. And then yeah, so this whole thing happens. There's one, oh, it was the 7-star one. And this is the one that looks like a star-nosed mole, and I legit was like, it's just a star-nosed mole. Like, it's like, I thought it was supposed to have a dragon resemblance, but then as it turns out, it steals bodies, and it stole one of a star-nosed mole. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it steals Pan's body, and I'm like, oh shit, this would be cool. But then it just turns into a bigger version of the dragon. It's not that it looks like Pan or anything. So I was kind of like, why didn't it just look like Pan? Like you said,
like
it takes
how-
the body.
Yeah, it literally is like, oh, it took this mole, so that's why it looks like a mole. So
But-
it takes Pan, but it doesn't.
It still
Doesn't
has a
look
little
like it.
star nose thing. It still has wings or whatever. It's like, but I thought it's just standing on its legs,
It's
and
just
it's shooting the powers like Pan. But it's like I thought it was gonna look like Pan, like
they're like, oh shit, dude, we don't want to do that. We don't want to draw that.
legit. So
We also don't want to draw fucking Goku and them having to beat the shit out of his granddaughter.
like legit. But that was the whole thing. That was the whole conflict where he's like, oh, I don't want to do it because then I could hurt Pan or everything. And Pan's like, just do it. Like just do it. And then they like
Hit me.
And then they actually do a fake out where they make it seem like, oh shit, did they just kill Pan? But then it's like, no, psych, the dragon didn't die.
Oh.
Legit. And then we get to it was the 4-star. Okay, so it was the 4-star dragon. And it is bizarre because with like out of all of the dragons, out of all the 7 dragons that they end up having to fucking deal with, the 4-star dragon has a surprising amount of character. Like it has a moral compass where it's like Pan tries to hit it and he just kind of like knocks her out but like catches her, and Goku's like, don't do anything, and he just kind of sets her down as like, don't worry, I only knocked her out so she wouldn't bother us and fight. And they end up fighting, and then there's a point where it's like they're both kind of at each other, but he has a lot of respect for Goku as a fighter, and he's just very much like,
It's like, is this a villain?
but it's weird because it's like he has like character to him, and like
Which is a very uncommon trait.
it's just it's so out of nowhere, but I was really happy about it. It was just like, okay, so like, and even like Goku is like, like he said something along the lines like, like, I appreciate you not hurting Panware, and he was like, I don't hurt women and children, or at least innocent ones that whatever.
We gotta make sure, put that in the script. We gotta make sure
Legit.
that nobody comes after us in the future.
Yes, but it was just funny because it was just all this character came so out of nowhere, and he's actually a kind of likable character. And then like what ends up happening is that then there's like his brother, which is one of the other dragons. Yeah, there's an ice dragon because this one's fire, so there's an ice one. He's like his brother, and this one's super like heartless or whatever.
He's cold.
He's cold-hearted.
Oh.
And then, but then the 4-star one is like, no, like this was my fight and whatever, and the other was like, you're soft and everything, and there's this whole thing with that. Goku ends up dealing with it, but it's just funny because the 4-star one is like, he's like, no, like this is my fight, and Goku's like, no, like let me deal with this one, and then I owe you a fight. I don't know. It just was like, wow, like, you know what? They gave a lot of character to this dragon, and I don't know why.
Decided, you know what? We'll rate this one pretty good.
Exactly. Okay. So, I wanted to get to this, and I wanted to like save my energy for this one. I have to get into what I consider the most annoying episode of this damn show, and I say it's the worst because it encapsulates everything that I hate about the show.
Is this the episode that you had mentioned that you were like, I really want to discuss this one in
Yes,
particular.
yes, and I didn't say what it was because I wanted your candid reaction.
Oh God.
Basically, when Goku and the Four-Star Dragon are fighting, there is a point at the end of like some episode or whatever where they're like powering up, he powers into Super Saiyan 4, and they're like and it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? You know, they're gonna, will he be able to do it? Find out, Dragon Ball GT, and it's like, oh shit, wonder what the next episode's gonna be, and the next episode, it is. This episode, the next episode, is literally a episode focused around Vegeta, who is been sidelined and benched basically this whole show, but
since the baby arc at this
basically
point.
since the baby arc, this episode is literally just about Vegeta reflecting on the past and being like how he's been second place, and literally, I swear to God, this episode like is a clip show from like Dragon Ball Z. Like, it literally plays out the scene of him and Goku's first fight, and then it like cuts to the Frieza arc where he got killed, and then it cuts to when he was Majin Vegeta, and it's literally just a clip show.
It's like he's going through the yearbook of himself, and,
Basically.
and they're like, hey guys, we gotta let's oh man, this show's getting crazy right now, but we have Vegeta, that's right, shit, okay, and then he's just like going through this moment, and it's like, but what about the plot that was happening over there?
Literally, and that's the thing, is like this entire episode literally is just on Vegeta while Goku and the dragon are fucking fighting. Vegeta's just having this little clip show with all of Z and everything, and it felt so stupid because it's like extended clips of Z. It literally plays up the first fight with Goku and Vegeta. It plays up when he was Majin Vegeta, and like, when he blew up the stadium with all the people, whatever, like to the point where we get like, clips of like other characters, like during that part, it like, because they're playing such a long clip, it ends up showing a part where like Bobbity pops in for a minute because he's like talking or whatever, and it's just like, why are we doing this? Why is this an episode right now in the middle of a fight? Like,
because like this could have been an interesting thing if they had built context for this flashback
exactly
sequence. But the fact that it just showed up.
It showed up so out of nowhere,
like,
for Vegeta, who at this point, really hasn't done a whole lot. And the whole thing is that at the end, it shows like, oh, like Bulma has found a way to get Vegeta to Super Saiyan 4, which is essentially use the stupid Bruit's machine that used Baby to get to the ape. Basically, use that on Vegeta. Do the same thing.
Damn, why did we wait an entire arc and a half for this?
Exactly.
Wow. Hey, let's make him Super Saiyan 4.
It's
just push the button.
It's just so fucking annoying, and it was literally just like, why? Like, why are we getting this episode?
Because it's poetic. They're showing, like, they're reflecting on his journey as a character since Z, and how far he's come and everything he's done up to this point, where he's ready to take the next step into Super Saiyan 4, because his story arc has been such a change from his selfish nature in the first arc, where he's ready to murder everyone, and to the end of the Buu saga, where he's like completely he's kind of less selfish.
The Buu arc, he was Majin Vegeta. He was
like the latter half,
super selfish.
The later one, after he realized, like, yeah, he kind of fucked up, and then he was like, Trunks,
I've been a father.
He's like, I've been a pretty shitty dad.
You're a good boy, and then like knocks him out.
And he's like, take care of your mom, and Trunks is like, what? And just gets the last thing Trunks sees of his dad is him being hit by him, and then Vegeta's just like fucking self-sacrifice, which is epic, and it's amazing, and it was like this like final change in Vegeta's personality that he made the decision to do, and this is trying to reflect on that and be like, Like, Vegeta's come so far as a character, now he's gonna go even further beyond.
But it's literally in the middle of whatever plot we're in right now. It completely halts the plot.
Yep.
And for Vegeta, who has had little to nothing during this show other than being possessed by the villain in the baby arc,
They're like, we gotta catch up quick. We gotta put Vegeta in the front lines.
it's just forcing him in there, and it was so annoyed with that episode, and I just had to save it because it was just like this fucking stupid clip show episode. And then beyond that, Goku ends up fighting and defeating the Ice Dragon. The 4-star dragon, like, he's gonna fight him, and then the 4-star dragon ends up getting sniped and killed, and he's like, what? And it's the final dragon. I don't Omega Shenron he's called in the dub, but in the sub he's not called that.
I like how you say it so underwhelmingly. This is the last dude in the entire series, and you're like, what was his fucking name? Omega Shenron or some shit? It's like, that's the guy.
But the thing is like,
the thing
he's not called Omega Shenron in the sub. It's like, because each dragon is named off of each ball, so it's like Zingong Joe or like Qui-Gon Jinn or whatever, like all these different names. And yeah, and then but I know he's called Omega Shenron in the dub, so I just call him Omega Shenron. But he just kind of comes out and he's like, ha ha ha, the guy, the dragon, and he's the last one that Goku has to fight in order to get it. And this kick starts basically.
Oh, he's Sin Shenron.
Sin Shenron.
Yeah. He's got a lot of names.
He does. Well, okay, is Omega Shenron one of them? As long as we can call him Omega Shenron, we'll just call him that.
Oh, in Spain, he's called Shinron, or Super E Shinron. I'm looking at it's like this is a fandom article I'm looking at, so this may not be Spain. I don't know if that's actually how you call him.
If you're from Spain, leave a comment and tell us.
Super Lee Shenron, 1-star dragon, the dragon of absolute destruction, Lee Shenron.
That whole name. There you go.
How was he born?
What?
How was Omega Shenron made?
You mean like when the ball landed or something?
Yep.
Actually, I don't remember.
Sin Shenron was born from the wish made by Mr. Popo.
What? No, they didn't talk about that. They didn't say which wish it was.
Yep, Mr. Popo, when Mr. Popo made the wish to revive everyone on Namek that was killed by the hands of Frieza and his soldiers, that is the wish that made Omega Shenron.
But like, why? What part? How did that make negative energy? It's so like, why? Okay, like, what was bad about wishing those people back?
Well, I mean, that just goes deeper into the subplot that Mr. Popo is not really on the up and up
Yeah.
with the rest of the heroes here.
Fucking Popo.
You know, don't trust Mr. Popo.
Legit. But anyway, so what ends up following is the worst part of this damn show.
Which you would think is going to be like the coolest part because, you know, all the dragons building up and then you see Omega Shenron and you're like, this is gonna be like this big bombastic fight, like all guns out, like this is gonna be some like crazy stuff.
No, and this fight should be like that, and it greatly, probably the most, suffers from what I'm talking about earlier, where the fights are like a couple punches, then there's a lot of pausing, and there's like there's a couple more punches, then there's a pause. This fight drags on for several episodes because of that, and I hate it because it's like Goku, and then Vegeta ends up coming in. He goes Super Saiyan 4.
He looks pretty badass though in Super Saiyan 4.
Well, they both do. Like, they're both fine as Super Saiyan 4.
They're both fine.
They're both fine.
They're okay.
Yeah. I think the craziest plot twist was when Vegeta was the one to suggest doing a fusion with Goku. That was definitely the big plot twist of 2020 I would have never expected.
What the fuck?
So they end up doing fusion. They become Gogeta in Super
which
Saiyan 4.
which is like to this day like one of the most hyped characters in Dragon Ball in general. Because it's not only Gogeta, but it's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And the sheer level of I don't give a fuck that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta gives off is very strong. I mean, is just like could wipe the floor with everything.
Exactly. It's a damn shame he doesn't, because a lot again, the fight is just well, first of all, Gogeta is like he's kind of goofy, so he kind of like goofs around with Omega Shenron while also kind of like, like punting him here and there. And it's like you'd think maybe just destroy him, but like
Because it's the
no.
same thing as Vegito during
Yeah.
the Buu arc, which is like when they fuse, Goku's kind of brain is too much in play.
Yeah.
And he's like his level of goofiness combined with Vegeta's arrogance is what creates this personality in Gogeta and Vegeta, which is like we are superior, but then Goku was like kind of just wants to like fucking screw around
Yeah.
instead of maybe use that to like actually just fucking beat the shit out of him in like a couple minutes.
Yeah. But it's just annoying, and it's like, and again, like it's this, and then the fact that the pacing in the fight is just shit. It's like, it stops them to talk, or it stops to cut away to characters. It stops to talk. It stops to cut away to characters. Like, I wrote down, like, we just had a long cutaway to the Supreme Kais just to see what they were doing, and it's like, in the middle of this fight.
It's like, oh, what's the Supreme Kai doing? Nobody's really worried about that when they're watching this moment.
Exactly.
No one's like, what do the gods think?
Seriously, and then my biggest point with this too, I fucking don't care for Omega Shenron. I think he's one of the least interesting villains I think Dragon Ball has ever done. Like literally, it's not like he's like a god. It's not like he's like a big, bad guy that was in the shadows all the time. No, he was just one of these 7 dragons.
But then he ate the
And then
Dragon Balls.
and then he ate the Dragon Balls, so he's just got all their powers. But like his personality is just like he's just an asshole. It's just
he's a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy.
he is. All he is just he's powerful. He wants to destroy the world because he's evil, and that's it. Like all these other like Dragon Ball villains, like ones we just saw in the other arc, they had way more of like a depth to them. They had way more of like, a purpose. Cell's thing wasn't just to like destroy the world. It was like so he could be like perfect being, and then like challenge whoever like
there's
could also be there, and then building up to Cell.
There's like building up to him being perfect by absorbing the androids, and then after that, he's like, "No, I could, but I want to prove, I want to show you how much better I am than you. So I'm gonna hold a tournament." And he's basically just like he's not worried, and it's this whole thing. He's just letting people come and try to fight him, and he's like, I'm gonna kill all of you.
Yeah.
But at least I'm gonna do this in the way that I think would be enjoyable. And so the whole Cell Games thing happened, but it all was in his personality
It was.
that he had, and it was like
It was.
interesting.
Seriously,
This one doesn't have that.
even Baby had more personality and interesting like traits than this, and he was like the fucking arc before this.
Well, if anything, Baby had at least a purpose, which was he wants his fucking Tuffle planet back.
He did, yeah.
And it's like, there it is. He has a goal. Omega Shenron.
He's just an asshole for being the sake of an asshole.
He's like, well, I'm gonna kill you because that's what I gotta do.
This is what they gotta do. And then and it's just so stupid. And then again, the fight goes on for way too damn long. There's a point where Goku and Vegeta end up unfusing, or they end up defusing,
Because they ran out of time.
and then they try to fuse again. But then it's a whole thing because it's like, because the Omega Shenron tries to stop them, and then he's like, Vegeta, we gotta do it. Vegeta doesn't want to because the dance is silly or whatever, and it's just like, oh my god, we're in a fight right now. We're in the final fight. It's like, just stop. And then Goku ends up turning back into a kid because he burnt out on Super Saiyan 4, and it's just like, of course.
Like, the second he goes back into a kid, I'm like, all right, round 2 of the build up.
Legit.
Back to the point where he's gonna be able to fight him or whatever, and it's like, all right. But remember that time where they kill him though?
Which time? That's the no. I wrote this down. He has a total of 4 fake out deaths, and it is stupid that it has this many deaths. Because when I say fake out deaths, I mean like it shows him getting like blasted. Everyone's like, "Oh man, we did it, Lo hicimos, we did it." And then he comes out. It's like, "Oh shit!" And he does this 4 times.
Because it's like, it's one thing like when Frieza was hit by the spirit bomb, and it's like, oh shit, we got him finally. It took us like 45 episodes for Goku to build up this thing.
Yeah.
And he hit Frieza, and then Frieza comes out and is just like carrying it, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
And it's like, shit, we gotta figure something else out. You know? And Cell legitimately was blown up. He was blown apart, but then he just regenerates because he has Piccolo cells.
Right.
And then he was blown up by Goku. Or not by Goku, but he was taken to King Kai's planet when Cell was gonna fucking explode.
Mm-hmm.
And then he regenerated because one cell of him survived.
Right.
And it's like, that, those make sense. Like, Frieza didn't actually die, he stopped the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh shit, we're going forward. Cell actually established that he can regenerate, and that last time was like, we didn't see it coming when he regenerated after self-destructing. This one doesn't have that same like,
It doesn't.
It's just like, did we get him? Oh no.
And it happens 4 times.
It's just like, come on guys, like, I get you want to like hit him hard and then be like, oh, but he's so powerful, he can take it. And it's like, okay, we'll get him again. Oh shit, did we get him this time finally? Nope. And it's like,
Oh man.
it's like, we're watching this show and it's like, please end it, I'm done.
It's seriously, it goes so long, and then, oh my god. Okay, so we're finally getting towards the end of the show. Finally getting towards the end. Basically, the fight ends up with Goku and Vegeta both having lost Super Saiyan 4 energy because they're just fucking powered out. Goku ends up it's getting blasted, and there's like a giant crater, and we just kind of assume that Goku got blasted, but we don't see a body. So we don't know, but we just assume he's dead. Omega Shenron kind of like starts spreading his negative energy, and shit starts going wrong. And I thought it was pretty ballsy that like, because it shows like all these like disasters happening. You're seeing cities like falling apart, setting on fire. You're seeing buildings falling on people.
Like world ending.
Like, it was like, okay, shit. They're not just like implying people are dying. They're like showing shit happen. And I thought that was pretty ballsy. But all of this happens in an episode that's titled Goku Saves the Universe. So it's like, I wonder what happens in this episode.
Yeah, it's like, could y'all have gotten a better title?
Exactly.
Like, it's like you get the title of the episode and you're like, oh, okay.
Because like the title card literally, because it's like it shows the recap, and then it shows like the title card for the episode, and the title card was like, oh, like a last minute victory, Goku saves the universe. It's like, spoiler alert.
Literally, it's like, yeah, we know you're about to watch the episode, but here's a little hint, a little
Which I think is just a Dragon Ball meme in general, but like, come on guys, like, then I know that nothing's gonna happen. But then what ends up happening is that Goku does come back emerges from that giant crater, and I'm just thinking, like, did he not like check just to make sure he was dead? Like, he knows he's fighting Son Goku. He's fighting this big, like, powerful guy. Like, Omega Shenron just is like, it's fine. I'm sure he's dead. And
like,
then
they just fought him in a fusion, and then they were separated, and they were kind of fighting, and it's like, he's so confident that the one thing was like, no, that's good enough. It worked.
Yeah.
Why would I check?
Exactly.
I don't need to.
Why?
I'm better.
Exactly. And then what ends up happening, this is in the second to last episode. I assure you, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
I know. I hope you feel like this was much of a trudge through as...
You see why that this was such a struggle.
It's like
Goku essentially is like, I'm gonna do a spirit bomb, but the big spirit bomb, the one.
the whole this is the only way to kill our enemy. It was with Frieza, it was with Cell, it was with Boo, now it's with this.
And here's the thing: is that he's like, but he's like, I know that the spirit bomb won't be enough energy to kill him, and I've already used all of Earth, so he like gets in. With his mind, he gets in contact with King Kai and is like, I need you to relay my voice to the entire universe, and basically calls on the entire universe to lend him everyone's energy.
The entire universe.
Not the universe, the galaxy. I'm sorry. At this point, you know what? Like,
It was like the universe's energy. I feel like he would destroy the planet.
maybe it was I don't know.
If it's the galaxy, he probably said the word universe because that's just
it's just at this
it's
point.
better for Dragon Ball to say universe.
Yeah.
Than imply galaxies, because then that's like a whole wormhole that Toriyama's gonna have to commit to.
Basically,
But anyway.
it shows like all these characters that we've seen throughout the show from other planets. You show like the dumb tribe people with the fish monster. You show like other people that we've seen. They're all lending their energy. They're throwing their arms up, and it's like, ooh. And then Goku gets the big spirit bomb, and then meanwhile, like, Omega Shenron's like throwing like energy blast, and it's not working. He's just standing there, and he's like, what you do? And then like literally, it's like, and then Goku throws the spirit bomb, and it works. It's like,
But it so casually just like flies forward.
it does, and it's not like Omega Shenron could have just like moved out of the way, or like this entire fight he's had like this super like speed, like he's like Lightning McQueen, I am speed, like he's like keeping up with everybody. It's like, no, he couldn't do that. No, he's too in shock of the spirit bomb. He just takes it head on, doesn't move or anything.
Right? I mean, I don't want to keep referencing it, but I mean, it is a parallel. Like the other times Goku's used the spirit bomb, like he used it against Frieza. Frieza didn't move because Frieza wasn't threatened by it.
Yeah.
Frieza was like, okay, whatever. And then when he grabbed it, he was like, oh, this might be a little too
Oh
much.
no.
But then Frieza realized, oh wait, no.
No, you, and just bounces it back.
And Cell didn't give a fuck because he could regenerate. He's like, no. Like when he told Vegeta, he's like, hit me with your best shot. Like literally hit me with everything you have. And then we got like his final flash for the first time, and it was that fucking crazy ass shot. It blew like half, like I think it was either half of Cell's body or just the upper half of him was just obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
But then he just regenerated.
Mm-hmm.
And Boo, specifically Kid Boo, like physically stopped the spirit bomb and was pushing it back. Because he's like, I'm stronger than this, fuck you. And then Goku had to be like, bah, and push it harder. It's like, they all had justifiable and built-in reasons to why they just took on the spirit bomb.
Yeah.
This guy was just like, huh?
He does, and he doesn't move or anything. He doesn't try and fight it. It's just, nope, just takes it, and it blows him up, and there we go. The world is saved now, and it's like, oh man, we did it. We did it, everyone. And then
I know the episode title implied victory, but there was tension. Like, maybe.
And then we get to the final episode of GT, and it's like all our prayers have been answered. The final episode.
Oh, everything we wanted happened in this last episode, and what that is that it's over.
Exactly. So basically, the Dragon Balls are all together again. They're all not cracked and everything. Shenron just kind of appears, and he's like, "Awaken, Goku!" And because Goku had like fucking knocked out after that spirit bomb, and basically he's like, the Dragon Balls are no longer going to be here on Earth because you've used them too many times. It's time for them to go away." And Goku's like, "Okay, but like one last wish," and he just wishes for everyone who died in the craziness that we just witnessed.
Literally just erase all of what happened.
Yeah, just like fix everything, and he's like, okay, and does it.
Why not?
Sure. Not like I just said that the Dragon Balls are going away, but sure.
But sure.
And then this is the weird part, and it's like, all right, you know what? I'm not entirely sure where they were going with it, but basically, Shenron invites Goku to come with him, and Goku's like, okay, and then jumps on Shenron's back.
Just like the cartoon intro.
His family just kind of is like, wait, what? And then Goku and Shenron just kind of fly off, and everyone's like, oh, you'll be back, right? And Goku just kind of goes away. And we're treated to Goku visiting certain characters like Krillin and Master Roshi, which I thought was really nice. He also visits Piccolo in Hell.
Hey Piccolo, how's it going?
Yeah.
He's like, I've made a mistake.
Don't ask how he got into Hell in the first place, but he does visit him. He says, like, I'm sorry I didn't repay you the favor or whatever. But then kind of disappears. He also disappears when he's with Krillin, because he was kind of like doing a little quick fight with Krillin, and Krillin actually does throw him, and goes like, "Wow, you haven't changed a bit," and then just disappears. And then like they're just flying, like it's like him and Shenron just kind of flying
it's just like
in the sunset.
It's just like a reflect over everything we've been through over this entire franchise. Just like, this is all what it's come to.
But then it's like, it's weird because it's like he kind of like falls asleep, and then the Dragon Balls just kind of absorb into Goku, and then that's it. Because then what happens afterwards is, and this isn't very long, but what happens afterwards is we get another time skip, very similar to what Z did with its finale, but we get a time skip, and this is like way later on. Like we see like Pan is like an old woman, and we basically get treated to we get Goku's like great grandchild or something, who's also named Goku, and basically it's another fighting tournament, another Dragon Ball fighting
The
tournament.
cycle continues.
But then his opponent is Vegeta's great grandchild, and the two look very similar to Goku and Vegeta.
It's so poetic.
It is poetic, because then they end up fighting, and then they both just turn Super Saiyan, which is kind of like, how would they turn into Super Saiyan? Like, by this point, there's a lot more human blood than Saiyan blood, so it's just like, alright, cool. They can just go Super Saiyan, I guess.
Fuck it.
Why not? And then, Pan's there watching it, and then we see someone who also looks like Bulma, but she's really young, so it's like, I don't know if this was like their kid, like the daughter of Vegeta and Bulma, or this is some other great grand person.
Well, that's the thing, is like, and spoilers for Dragon Ball Super, a little bit. It's been long enough, you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Bula or whatever, Bula.
Oh, the daughter.
Yeah, is like, it's kind of like what people have connected this to, is like, oh, this is not canon, but like that could be their daughter.
Yeah.
And then when they made them having a daughter canonical, people are like, oh, this might be the thing that they did way back when.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a lot.
But it's weird, because it's like, okay, like this is Goku's like great grandchild, whatever, and why is Pan's just an elderly one? I feel like if this is that far down, like, I don't know, it's just weird. But then like they're watching it, and Pan like looks over, and Goku's just there, and she's like, "What, Grandpa?" And then like runs over, and he's just gone, and it ends with him just kind of walking out of the tournament, and Pan just went like, "You did come to see, huh? Like you came to visit finally." And Goku's walking away, and then we get the final we get the theme song that kind of plays. Which, by the way, the theme song did grow on me on the show. That's the one thing is that I will say, is that I was kind of like, with the theme song at first, but it kind of grew on me. But it plays the full version of it while we're watching flashes of all of Dragon Ball. We see flashes of like OG Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and then the part where he finishes off Baby and GT. We don't see anything else.
They're just like, let's skip over.
And then. Yeah, and then that's where it ends. It ends with the end, And I will say this about the final episode is that I appreciate how sincere it is. It genuinely feels like this is where the show was meant to end, and it's like it's kind of satisfying to watch. I wish it was just on Z because I don't feel like GT was the right show to have this nice sincere ending on.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
It's
but
just like, ugh. But a lot of people theorize that the Dragon Ball is going into Goku.
mm-hmm.
That he has achieved a level of not godhood, but pretty much godhood of what it would have been
Yeah.
during GT, and not what godhood is
Now.
in Super. So people are thinking like he's like the guardian of the universe, like he's achieved this level by all of the sacrifice and the fighting, and Shenron gave him like it was this thing, and taking away the Dragon Balls from Earth so that this never happens again. But Goku has taken on the responsibility by taking in the Dragon Balls.
Yeah. See, I didn't know if it was like that or if it was like, is this a metaphor for him? Like, did he die or something? Like, did he finally run out of his life energy and so Shenron was gonna kind of like take him off to the spirit world, but he wanted to visit people one last time, and then like this is just like, oh, his spirit visiting? I don't know. It was just like, that's what it kind of felt like, but I can see that being the thing too, is like if he just kind of became like the guardian, this was him like
And,
transcending.
and Shenron was like his, not his mentor, but like was his transition
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Some other people think that he absorbed the Dragon Balls were placed in him by Shenron, so that his pure heart could purify the balls themselves. Which I feel like is what we did by fucking murdering all the dragons.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that the whole point? Was that the negative energy was the dragons, and we just got rid of them, so the balls were good, and they weren't cracked anymore. So I don't know.
And it's just that's the whole thing, is that everyone agrees that this, like, what happened in the ending is so obscure that it's like no matter how much you look at it, there's no definitive answer to what the fuck happened with Goku.
Yeah,
It's just like it's like this artsy, like, symbolic transition for the sake of trying to make like this, not a statement, but like give Goku this like level of transcendence.
which is, you know what? It's like if that's what they want to go with, then that's fine. I do appreciate the episode, but I just wish it wasn't with GT. It's funny because this reminds me of one of my favorite shows, Steven Universe, which this year actually had ended on its sequel series, Steven Universe Future. This, it kind of suffered the same thing where it was like it felt like the show didn't exactly know how it wanted to end it, and it kind of went in a weird direction. But the final episode was a really nice, like, sincere farewell to like everything, and it was like, it was the same thing there where it's like, I really like this last episode and I really like the send off to the show. I just wish it wasn't the cap off to this part. I wish it was the cap off to the big series that everyone liked.
Yeah, because it's like they know how they want to wrap it up at the end.
Yeah.
Like that final one, they're like, we're gonna hit it with kind of all of the fans' love for this show as a whole, and it's gonna feel good. It's like this whole thing, but everything getting to that, they're just like, we got. But when they get to the point, they're like, we know exactly what we're doing, and it's good, and you know, I don't know the general opinion of the finale other than people find it very confusing.
Yeah.
Some people think it's dumb, as far as like what they're trying to do with Goku, because
Yeah.
it is just confusing.
Yeah.
But the overall appeal of how they wrap it up, emotionally, has been pretty positive.
Yeah.
Problem being that it is attached to GT.
Exactly.
So it's like when you want to enjoy this final episode, this wrap up of Dragon Ball as a series for Dragon Ball and Z and GT, and it's like you want to be like, this is amazing, but then you remember you just watched GT to get here, and it's like,
Exactly.
this doesn't. I really, you want to feel good about it, but it's attached to the dumpster.
It is. Yeah, but
God.
so that's the end of GT, and my God, is it a roller coaster?
I know. I feel a weight has lifted.
Yes.
The wheel of fate. You bastard.
Exactly. Okay. I do want to say this. I kind of want to say like a final thoughts of GT
Course.
just as a show. Unless you wanted to.
No, please,
Okay.
please grace us with your brain.
My brain. That's Grace Swift. No. I will say this. I didn't know much about GT until watching this. By this point, by the time that I had started GT, I had watched all the way through Z. I then tried to watch GT, but then didn't, and then I watched all of like Super and everything. So GT is like the last thing of Dragon Ball that I really didn't touch until now. I had just heard GT's not very good. Oh, Super Saiyan 4 is super good though, and all this whatever. So finally having watched GT as like a Dragon Ball fan and everything, I'm glad that I watched it. Here's the thing, as much shit as I give the show and as much mud that the show dragged me through to get through everything, I will say this, I do like certain parts of Dragon Ball GT, and I think that's the most aggravating part, is that there is good concepts here that I think would work well if they were reworked into the main show. Super Saiyan 4, I would love it if it got like the Broly treatment where it was brought to the canon. I think Baby would be a really fun villain if they could find a way to bring him into the show. I would love it. I honestly, I think everything with the Baby arc was super good until towards the end of the arc. But like that whole like when Baby was introduced and that whole like bit with him like in the middle, like when he came to Earth and everything, I thought that was great. And that's the thing with GT is like I can see why some people defend certain parts of it. Like there are certain parts where it's like, yeah, this shit's really cool and there's some really good ideas here. It's just muddled with really dumb stuff. And that's the thing is like with GT, it really is one of those situations where there's just so much dumb stuff in it, but the good stuff in there is genuinely good. And I hope that maybe Toriyama or whoever works on the story and the manga and everything can find a way to kind of sift through the dirt and find those couple jewels in GT. But I will say this, if you're a Dragon Ball fan that hasn't watched GT yet, but you love Z and you have watched Super and, all this other stuff, and you haven't watched GT, I'd still say watch GT. I would still say, like, just for the sake of knowing what goes on in the show, or, like, just out of the sheer curiosity of it, I think it's a fair thing to say. It's, like, it's still interesting to watch, and the good parts in there are good. And I would say this is I would also find it interesting if like you're a fan of Dragon Ball, haven't seen everything, and then you get to those good parts, because my thing was like I thought it would be like, oh, Super Saiyan 4 is like super good and that would be the only thing I liked, but I actually way preferred the Baby stuff over anything with Super Saiyan 4. And I don't know how popular of an opinion that is, but it's interesting that's kind of what I took away as a person watching GT for the first time, having been a fan of Dragon Ball for so long. And so I would say if you're like me like that, I would still say watch the show. At least try. It's not easy, but give it a try.
Yeah,
and maybe you pick up on something I didn't like or you agree. It's like I don't know. I am glad that I finished the show. I will say that. I'm glad that I finished it. I'm glad that I did watch it. As much trouble as it's given me, I am glad that I gave it a shot.
Yeah. And like for those of you on the fence, you can at least, if anything, know that GT is not canon, so you have no real obligation to muscle through the entire show if you really are just like, I'm not into it.
Yeah, and that's why I say is like it's if you're curious and if you watch everything else and you're just curious about it, then yeah, give it a look. It's not like you have to know what happens. It's just I don't know. It's a part of Dragon Ball in its history. It may not be canon, but the show is an interesting part of the show as far as pop culture is concerned.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you can take a lot of things away from GT that are really good. And there's handfuls of stuff that it's like, not that great. But the thing is, you don't have to latch onto those things. It's not what makes the show.
Yeah.
But the show still is very Dragon Ball.
It is.
So it's like, it may be bizarre and some things kind of don't make sense and it's kind of whack, but at its core, the fundamental Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, the tropes that make the show what it is are very much present in GT. They just do it in a really strange way, and most of the time they kind of just mull over the logistics. Like, it happens because this thing happened, and so that's what caused this. And they're like, that's good enough. Keep going.
Yeah.
And unlike what you said with Baby, if they decide ever to bring, because I feel like Toriyama will probably tap into some GT concepts, even if he's not just like copy and pasting straight up ideas.
If it's like the Broly treatment, where they took something that people liked and reworked it in a way to possibly make it better, like that's where it's like I would love it if it was Baby. Obviously, yeah, Super Saiyan 4, as a lot of people say, but like, man, if they did the Baby arc, or if they did something similar, I wouldn't mind that at all. I thought that was something, like the whole like part where Goku's gone and then Earth is just being invaded and then he comes back and everything's fucked up. That was interesting, and that was something I was not expecting from this show.
Yeah, and I thought about it a lot while going through GT, but Baby would fit still currently in Super. So, no spoilers for the current manga story, but the current arc, they're going through their villain. We've had Zamas or Zamazu in the dub, and we had the tournament and all that.
Tournament of Power.
So we've had these situations that are pretty high and crazy, and if you bring Baby into it, he's conceptually different enough to stand out. But if they kind of just rework more like the specifics, I could see him fitting in, because it's like the fact that he's able to take over bodies. That alone would make a much more powerful villain, especially if the God Key in Goku and Vegeta can't do anything about it. Like, they don't have, like, the Majin Buu effect of being able to reject it.
Yeah.
It's like, if they get possessed, then he can literally control, essentially, Goku and Vegeta, and have their god power forms. And
honestly,
it would be different than the Goku Black thing. Because Goku Black is just the taking over of the body with the god.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I thought about it. I'm like, would this be too similar?
But my thing is like...
But then, yeah, sorry.
No. I was just going to say, one thing I would say would be kind of cool if they played up, if they were to do this again. And one thing I guess I would, as far as the Baby arc, what I would change is to not make it as obvious who Baby is in right now. And that's what I was thinking, is like, wouldn't it be crazy if, like, he was changing body to body and it's like, we don't know who he is, and then, like, because for a second, like, they kind of touch it when, like, Vegeta and Gohan are fighting, and he's in Gohan, and Goten gets there, he's like, oh, I can help and everything, and then he turns on Vegeta, and it's like, what if that happened? Like, what if, like, Goku and Vegeta were out somewhere, and then, like, Vegeta just kind of stops, and Goku's like, Vegeta, you good? And he's just like, like that, like... just keep it subtle like that.
I know. If Toriyama was willing to actually be that subtle, because there's a tendency to kind of rush subtleties
Yeah.
in Dragon Ball as a franchise.
Yeah.
But if they were willing, if he was willing to actually do it, it would be a very cool build-up, and it would have had everybody off guard. And then by the time they have to make this confrontation, the stakes are way higher, and it's not as easy.
Yeah, and he's in all these other bodies, and by
And-
this point, Goku has so many other allies and everything. Like,
And it's like, even if you think, okay, Goku doesn't get possessed, like, you look at all of the allies that Goku has, it's like, what if they were all?
and GT touched on that. He had to fight his family, and you had like Gohan and Goten both fighting him at the same time. Meanwhile, Goku's like, I don't want to hurt them, but it's also like I'm gonna have to fight them. If you put that similar situation, I think that would be crazy. And I
Like-
mean, like,
Like, imagine Goku having to stand off against, what did they call the like super form of blue for Vegeta?
oh, Royal Blue or something.
Well, Royal Blue is what the fan base called it, and
Uh-huh.
then Toriyama came out with the official name, which I forget what it's called.
I forget
But
either.
imagine Goku fighting that level of Vegeta being controlled by Baby.
Yeah.
But then he's also having to fight Piccolo, and they bring in Yamcha, Tien, and then he's having to fight like 6 people at the same time who he's trying not to kill, and they're obviously just Vegeta alone being on a pretty close power level to Goku at this point, if not. Well, actually, no. Toriyama actually confirmed that this ascended version of Blue is better than the base version.
Verizon.
So technically, Vegeta has surpassed Goku.
Yeah.
The only thing Goku would be able to do, if anything, was Ultra Instinct.
Yeah.
And even bringing that in, it's like, is that going to be enough? And it's like, sure, he could dodge everything, but does he really want to fucking one-shot everybody?
Does he really want to one-shot fucking like Videl or Chi-Chi or Bulma with just Ultra Instinct?
Yeah, like Baby would come back and prey on the easy weaknesses that Goku has, which is
Yeah.
he cares about people.
Exactly.
So what if he comes at Goku with people that can't actually fight, and Goku has no choice but to either defend or kill them?
Exactly.
And then you have this whole build-up, and Whis and Beerus are just like, yeah, we don't fuck with that.
we won't fuck with that.
We can't do that. And then, of course, we get the lore spoken out by Beerus and Whis as they're talking with each other. Mm-hmm. So we get the new baby lore that would happen.
Yeah, which could be either be the same thing. I mean, it works. It
They
could
could just
work.
be like, oh, Beerus could just... It could be a thing like Beerus is like, oh, isn't that race on that planet I had to destroy way back when?
Mm-hmm.
And then Whis is like, yeah, but I guess there was a survivor.
But I mean, like, even if it were the Saiyans, it could still work with that, like, the tie to the Saiyans having destroyed their race and everything. Like, that isn't so far out of the question that it could work. Wouldn't work.
And that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like, you could have... There are options, because the planet was destroyed. You could have it be during the Saiyans rampage. You could have Beerus being the destroyer god and have destroyed the planet because these guys were getting a little too uppity. Or, you could have it being some other complete connect, like Frieza probably destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like, there are all these things. And then what if he possesses Frieza? Golden Frieza.
Honestly.
And then-
Well, no, and then I was thinking, it's like, if it was Goku, but, like, everyone had turned, and he's got to, like... He finds one ally because they're not out there. And I was thinking, what if it was like Broly?
That's the only way.
It's the only way him and Broly gotta fight all his friends and everything.
But then Broly doesn't know, so he's just like...
No, but then that's the thing. Broly wouldn't hesitate, and Goku would be like, "No, stop!" But Broly's like, "But why?"
And Broly's like, no, I remember that fucking golden asshole's the one that killed my dad. And then Frieza's like, uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
but then Baby's controlling him so he can't move.
Yeah.
And Frieza's just like, no. Bro, he just gets his hits in again. Mm-hmm. Boom, there it is, Toriyama.
Literally, this whole plot.
We just came up with a pretty interesting plot that could stretch on for a good arc and be really interesting.
Yeah, but see, this all ties back to the point that there is good stuff in GT, and there's stuff that I would hope maybe one day we could see again in a proper way. But the way GT is, it's just not great execution of these good ideas.
Yeah, which we can all hope that one day it gets better.
Yeah.
Because Super's going strong as far as the manga. You know,
I was gonna say it's going really strong, not being around right now.
They're really taking their time with the anime on this one.
Well, they're really taking the time with the manga too.
1 chapter per month.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why the anime is taking so long. It's like, because they're given like maybe 30 seconds worth of footage every month to draw out.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, we're gonna see fucking Super come back every decade. Because then we'll have enough time.
Honestly.
Oi. But, that was GT. That was the journey.
That was GT.
Oh, by the way, I guess I can tell you now. You know what GT stands for?
That's right. I was gonna ask you. Oh my god, we were gonna start the video with that.
Yeah, I figured it'd be spicier to just kind of tap off at the end.
Yeah, let's.
After going through the whole journey, you know what GT stands for?
What?
Grand Tour.
Does it actually stand for Grand Tour?
Dragon Ball Grand Tour, because it is a grand tour of the universe of them going after the Dragon Balls. That's the whole. That's it. That's why it stands as GT.
That's the stupidest shit. Because I joked around. I was like, oh, what if it was like Gran Turismo, like cars?
Gran Turismo is Grand Tour.
Yes, I know.
That's why it's funny, and that's why when I read it earlier, I was like, wow, this is underwhelming. Because
that is the dumbest Of course it is. Of course it's named that.
Dragon Ball Grand Tour. Now when you hear it, when you see Dragon Ball GT and I see Grand Tour, I'm like, man, that is really...
I'm gonna think, why didn't they make a racing game off of it or something then? That would have been way better fitting.
Or like a Crash Team Racing, but it's Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z Racing. Dragon Ball Racers, but with a Z.
Bruh.
Yo.
How did they not make that already?
Oh my
You're
God.
telling me out of like Dragon Ball is such a milked franchise as it is, they didn't make a racing game off of it?
Yeah, you go out, you collect items like Instant Super Saiyan and like Spirit Ball.
Dude, if you get all 7 Dragon Balls, you get it's like the star in Mario Kart. It's like
and all the different, and I mean, they already did it in the show with the Piccolo and Goku going to the training school to drive.
Exactly.
So it already makes sense in the world. That
oh my god. Who does the Dragon Ball games? They should just pick that idea up.
Bandai Namco.
There you go.
Email us.
Bandai Namco.
We have an idea.
I have a plan.
Put a comment below if you would totally play a Dragon Ball racing game. You get to pick with Trunks, Gotenks, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Omega Shenron.
Omega Shenron.
And they all have their own little cars.
Oh my god.
And it's like, these guys can fly. Why are they driving? And it's like, no.
No, not in this game.
No, they fly, but that's cheating.
This is a what if universe where what if they didn't fly?
What if instead of a world tournament, they have a world race? And it's like, and there are rules, so they have to play by the rules. Like why Goku doesn't go Super Saiyan during the tournament. He just goes racing.
Even though he would be racing with like his different forms and whatnot.
You're just going through, go Super Saiyan, you get a little bit faster.
Yeah.
We have just created 2 really good ideas, which is the Return of Baby and Dragon Ball Racers.
Honestly.
So, you know...
And we're not even getting paid for it.
No, but we might one day.
One day.
If we pitch this and they're like, we'll take it.
Legit.
You're going to see it. Core 4 Gaming. Prediction.
I think
I think all the grand tours. If I can get into my head.
Yep.
But I know probably some of you are wondering why the hell we decided to go with GT versus, you know, the other good shows of Dragon Ball that are known to be good.
Yes. Why GT? Why the worst one?
Why the worst one? Why the mystery bag of
out of what? The 4 Dragon Ball shows, right? Because you have OG, Z, and Super. Why did we go with GT?
Yes, Danny. Why did we do this to ourselves?
Okay, well, funny you should ask that. Well, I mean, okay, there's a couple reasons. I guess I'll go ahead and just say the big reason is that me and Chris, in recent history, have. I mean, like, because we are huge Dragon Ball fans. Okay, of course, we've watched the shows and everything.
Huge fans for years and years and
Huge
years.
and fans.
Talk about it all the time.
Yes, but in recent history, me and Chris agree that in recent history we have both become very burnt out from Dragon Ball, and it was really when Super was really going, even the aftermath of Super, we were very much exposed to a excessive amount of Dragon Ball Z.
You're very excessive. I don't want to. It's not coming off of like Super and its popularity.
No,
it has nothing. It has nothing to do with the actual.
It's nothing to do with the actual show or anything.
Because we watched all of Super. We enjoyed the arcs. The tournament was insane, and it was awesome, and we loved it. But it was everything on a more not personal. It's a personal level.
It is so okay.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and say it. We had a friend. We're gonna call him Brian, and that is the.
We'll call him Brian. And his name is really Ryan.
Yep, there you go.
Like, they'll never see it coming.
We're gonna call him Brian. And Brian would never shut the fuck up about Dragon Ball Z, and he was both friends and very close to both of us, and so every day when we'd hang out, he would continuously talk about either the actual shows, fan theories that were really ridiculous, stuff that he thought was real but really wasn't real,
and Vegeta. Now, context. We love talking about these kind of things,
We do. That's why we have the podcast.
Yeah, we love Dragon Ball Z, but it was to a point where it was just just this guy. He would talk about it, and it was cool. It started out like we like Vegeta. His story arc in Z was he made a change. He stopped kind of being a selfish asshole and was more of like a productive asshole, and that's fine. And we love fan theories can be interesting. Those are cool. But it started to get to the point where every single conversation was forced into Dragon Ball Z.
Every single day, there would be at least 2 conversations about Dragon Ball Z.
Like, it'd be like, oh, hey, this new game is coming out. It's like, that's going to be really cool. What do you think? Oh, that's awesome. And then it's just like, yeah, fucking, Vegeta would say, fucking blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And here's, okay, I'm going to say this, because going into this, I knew that this subject was going to have to come up.
We're not going to harp on it for too long.
We're not.
But...
We love, I do want to say this, we love Vegeta, and I bring this up because in our Jump Force video, in the very beginning, our little cold open, I was like, if you're a Vegeta fan, fuck you, or some shit like that. I don't mean that. I love Vegeta.
He memes it.
Vegeta's a great character and everything. But this overexposure has given me a very cynical thing with Vegeta, and now I'm just like, Vegeta. And I mean, like, I don't mean it. And of course, it's like, if you like Vegeta and you think he's a great character, it's fine. I'm not like, no one's mad at you about that or anything. We were both exposed, and I mean, like, okay, like my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z and everything is Trunks. I love Trunks. I think, and that's something that I can get into another day. But like, I very much love Trunks. I very much love his character. This guy literally would yell at me and verbally attack me for liking Trunks and thinking he was better than Vegeta, which I do. No apology there. I do think Trunks is a better character. In terms of like how he is, like how, as personality and anything. But this guy would literally go after me and be like, no, like Vegeta, and it's just like I never said like he was wrong or anything for liking Vegeta or anything. It's just like, But it's just the kind of conversations these things would turn into, and it's just like Chris is saying, is like we could never escape from something becoming about Dragon Ball, and it's just this went on for years, like almost 3 years of this. It was our, I think, almost 3 years of was our friendship with him,
Yeah.
and
For just more additional context, so you kind of get an idea of why that was frustrating, is because it kind of felt like it started out like playfully, like, oh, Vegeta's a good character. It's like, oh, Trunks is better, and it's like, fuck you, like, blah
yeah,
blah blah. But it got to a point where it was like anytime Trunks was brought up, or anything like, oh, that was cool when Trunks did this, he'd be like, oh yeah, well, he's still a bitch, or he's like,
he
he's such
did,
a
and that's
shitty.
literally what he
And
would say.
and it wasn't even jokingly, it was like genuine offense.
Yeah,
Like,
and for the record, I never was like, oh, fuck Vegeta, oh, Trunks. Like, no, I would, no, I just would say, like, no, I mean, I like Trunks. Like, I just, and, but apparently I'm wrong, but, that's fine.
and like, in spoilers for Dragon Ball Super, but again, it's been out long enough. If you haven't missed it and you're listening to this, change your life. But in the third arc, the grand finale,
The Goku Black arc.
yeah, was the victory was technically handed to Trunks, and this triggered Brian so much that
But
he was like, that's so stupid, why would they give it to, he didn't deserve it, it's like this should have gone to Goku and Vegeta.
even though this arc literally started with Trunks trying to like save like his girlfriend and protect this other like resistance against Goku Black, and he was the one to go back in time to get Goku and Vegeta, and Goku and Vegeta did all the fighting, and then there was this huge moment with Trunks going Super Saiyan, or was it Super Saiyan 2? I don't even remember. But he went up and he fought and he defeated Zamazu, and it was like it was a huge deal for Trunks, and so he didn't steal the victory from anybody. It was just like, just funny how that works. But no, it's just, I don't know. It's just dumb because it's like, this is all over Dragon Ball. It's just a show. Like, it's not like I'm deeply offended or anything. It's not like, oh, like you're supposed to like my characters or anything. But there's no need to be vicious. There's no need to be overbearing, and this is just what he was like. And so for this long, we had to deal with it. Me and Chris, we had to deal with this, and now it's like we're just tired of it.
It's because, want to emphasize, we still love it and it's still awesome, but it's kind of like a level of like PTSD, a little bit, in that whenever we hear about Dragon Ball, it's like these flashbacks to what Brian would do and say all the time, was just like, we couldn't enjoy the show our way. We had to enjoy it his way, or we were incorrect.
Yeah.
And then there were moments where he would bring up fan theories because he thought they were interesting. And then, sometimes we'd be like, oh, that's an interesting theory. And sometimes we'd be like, oh, it wouldn't make any sense. But then it would be like, well, you know what else doesn't make sense? Fuck you.
No,
That's
and
like,
it's
it's
like literally, and then you get mad at the fan theory he brought up didn't make sense, and I don't know. It just, now it's like I don't have any real interest with Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z.
You need a break.
And exactly, and I mean, like, I was fine with GT because GT was just so different, and also GT was something that I had already been trying to watch for a while now, so it was like, fine, GT's fine, but I didn't want to add Super or Z to the wheel just because it's like I don't want to go back to that stuff. And I think the other thing, and this is the other reason why I didn't want to add it to the wheel, is that the, like, Z especially, but even Super as well, these are shows that are so massively popular that even if we did do a video on them, there's not a whole lot of different like opinions or a different like spin on anything that we like could add. Like GT, it was my first time watching it, so you're getting the opinion of someone who hadn't watched it before, and that's fine. Me and Chris know Z and Super all too well, and like if we were to do a video, it would just be us talking about some about it in a way that a lot of people have already heard it by now.
Yeah, it's like it would be more of like a gushing over it kind of podcast. It would be like Super had like this arc, and like these were cool things about the arc. These were
Yeah.
kind of things that weren't that great. And then it's like, oh, this is how that arc happened. And then the next arc, it's like, oh, look at this. This is different. Like these things.
Yeah.
These villains were interesting. These allies were they're trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, it just would feel a little redundant because we do enjoy it. We know what's good about it, and a lot of people have the same opinion.
Exactly. Like,
Like
okay,
people
our
love Super.
yeah, like our opinion of Super is that Super's a good show if after the first two arcs, that if you watch the movies, the first two arcs or whatever, but then after Super gets great. Who hasn't said that? Dragon Ball Z is one of the best animes out there, but of course you already know that. How many channels this day are still doing videos about it? It's just like, our opinion, it's not that our opinions like of Z aren't important or anything. It's that we have pretty similar opinions as a lot of people do, and it's just like GT was just so different. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. But if we did like Z and Super, it's like, I don't know, we would rather just talk about it naturally. Like if we did something like Jump Force, it's like, oh, like of course we know these characters, of course it's all this stuff. Oh, remember that thing? Oh, that's that stuff, that's cool. But to do an entire podcast like what we've just done for GT, like it would be stretching it.
Because like realistically, the first arc, Raditz showing up, things are happening, and it's like you can summarize most of these arcs in like a paragraph.
You can
Realistically, like the entire purpose of start, middle, build up, end is pretty straightforward. It's just the anime draws it out, obviously, for the dramatic effect and the cool action and everything. But like for the first couple arcs, I don't see much that we would be able to like really discuss in a sit down style that wouldn't just be like going over memories, like, oh hey, remember when Goku went Super Saiyan for that first time,
Yeah.
like against Frieza, and that was like crazy, and Frieza was like, if you let me power up to full strength, and it's like, it's interesting, sure, but it's like, this is a thing that everyone is very well aware of. So it would really just be us talking about it, because we're not those that come up with fan theories. We're not gonna go out of our way to try to come up with, how can we come up with Dragon Ball Z content that would be interesting or different. And we've thought about it, and even if we weren't as burnt out on Dragon Ball as just a franchise, we just can't come up with anything that would really be like a solid stick, being like, yeah, we could totally do this. This would be fun and interesting and different. And if you want
Exactly.
Dragon Ball lore videos or lore stuff, it's like, there are tons of wiki sites.
Exactly.
There are tons of channels that do great videos on the lore of all of the different types of things in Dragon Ball. And those are awesome. And like those are what those are for. If we were to do like a lore video on Dragon Ball, like realistically we would just be producing the same facts that those guys would be doing,
Yeah.
but you're more hearing it from us. I don't know. It's something we've mulled around, and we just don't think that it would be a good fit. That doesn't mean we can't like reference it in other podcasts or the games that we play on the channel.
Exactly.
It's not like we're blacklisting Dragon Ball like altogether. Like we're never speaking of it.
And here's the thing: if let's say like Dragon Ball comes back with like a brand new thing of Super, or fucking, I don't know, the new Dragon Ball ST or
Dragon
some
Ball Omega.
Dragon Ball Omega or whatever the fuck. I
Super
don't
duper.
just something new like that. Then we can do something like that if we feel like, oh man, this is actually really crazy. Let's talk about it. We're absolutely open to it, but the idea here is just it's the idea of us going to one of these shows that has been out for a while now, that everyone has talked about to death and is still talking about, and us kind of, going into it half-heartedly to just talk about it and talk about it the same way that a lot of people already talk about it, and it's the same stuff that me and Chris have been exposed to and talked to about for a long time now, up until recently, and we're still just trying to take a break from. So, at this moment in time, it's not something that we want to do. But we wanted to at least address it with this video with GT, just so we can address why we only were going to do GT and not the others.
Yeah, so it's not like a mystery or like that we decided GT was the best of Dragon Ball. Because it's not. It's not. But that doesn't mean that one day it can't happen. Just means not anytime right now.
Exactly.
And besides, you've seen it. The Wheel of Fate is chock full of experiences that we have yet to dive into.
Exactly.
Are you telling me that you would rather hear Dragon Ball Z over the 4Kids Yu-Gi-Oh?
Bruh, there's so much we can talk about that. Are you telling me, friggin', how about One Piece 4Kids dub? That can be a whole thing in of itself.
The fuck out of this room right now.
No,
No, and then we got Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
What we got? Oh, geez, what was the other one? High School DxD.
Yes. What else was it? Did we add? We didn't add Black Butler, did we?
Did we?
Let
us know in the comments if we put Black Butler.
We're gonna find out when we spin the wheel.
Yeah, at the end of
this. Oh, I know what we did. Lupin the Third. How many videos have talked about Lupin the Third? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Crossing my fingers if we get that.
Right, and then Yu-Gi-Oh. That's a hot one. We got the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Zextal.
Or like any of the other ones, whichever, because we just put spin-off. It was like it could be any of them.
Well, we specifically wrote the two, which was GX and
5Ds.
And 5Ds.
5Ds nuts. We put.
You'll see. We put a lot of cool ones.
We put
so it's like God of High School.
Oh, yes,
which is like
that one.
Which is giving Dragon Ball fights a run for their money at this point.
Exactly. We also, it's not on the wheel, but we can always go to My Hero Academia, a show that I was constantly thinking about when having to watch GT. Constantly remembering, like, man, I'd rather just be watching this show right now.
Man, remember when they did good art and writing and character development and things weren't.
Remember when the fights were actually really interesting to look at and they weren't just pausing and talking the entire time?
And reusing the same 4 frames in the same fight. But, yeah, so we may not be visiting Dragon Ball Z right now or anytime soon, but we have a lot of quality stuff that will be happening. And, these are more relevant. These are newer, fresher, shinier, more exciting. My Hero Academia is still going.
It is, and I need you. I want you. I especially need you to watch the other episode. We can talk about it.
Yes.
Of
course. And we've already put. You guys are going to have to suffer through as many My Hero Academia podcasts as it takes to finish the series.
But god damn it, if I can have Chris enjoy it, I can get you all to enjoy it too.
Yes, please enjoy it. And look forward to all the other anime stuff. Because we've only just started. We're warming up.
Exactly.
We did My Hero Academia. We got Goblin Slayer out of the way.
Dude, seriously, it's all uphill from here.
Yeah, and then now we did a second My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
And now we did GT. And so that's like That's the exciting things you get to look forward to on the
Exactly.
Spiral Offcast.
Exactly. And on that note,
Stick
I think
around
stick around.
for the wheel of fate to decide what content you get next.
Yes, stick around. Thank you. Thank you for listening to our very long talk about GT.
Yeah, gonna be honest.
This is
didn't-
going into the record books.
Yeah, literally didn't expect it to go this long.
We are-
Didn't even plan it for it to go.
We
this
are
long.
burning hot right now as we're recording this. I literally have ruined my shirt. I'm going to have to change clothes after this.
I know. Yeah, we're in like a small room, no fans,
No fans,
AC,
no nothing.
because we want to produce quality audio for you guys.
Yeah, only
So-
quality content.
Through our suffering,
Yeah,
you get GT. You're welcome.
you're welcome.
And so,
But also, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.
yeah, if you made it this far, go and write in the comments the word yeah, what's saffron. Saffron. Write in the comments with no context, saffron, if you made it to this part of the video.
All right. I'll be surprised if I see a couple of them. Be like, there we go.
Yeah, like you guys, you saffron warriors, you're the true heroes. All right, you guys did it. You guys went through this journey of GT with us. Made it to the end, and we're all only stronger.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully. So stick around for the wheel.
Yeah.
Stick around for the wheel.
Stick around.
Exciting.
We'll see you soon.
Trash day.
It's trash day.
Hurry up.
Run.
All right, bye.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're back with the Wheel of Fate.
The Wheel of Fate, here it is.
Here
oh
we
my
go.
god, has it... It feels, every time we return to this thing, it feels like it's been several years.
It's yeah.
It feels like we have gone through time, every single decision that pops up on this thing.
Seriously. But you know what? It's all good. Happy to be done with GT, and now we get to look forward to what our next anime is.
Yes.
So everyone, you can look at the wheel, see what our choices are. One of these bad boys is going to be our next anime-centric episode,
Yes, and so this
or at
time,
least when we decide to do it.
we're not adding anything to the wheel this time around.
Yes.
We're working raw off of all of these options.
Yeah.
So, Danny, if you don't mind, take us into the future.
All right, let's do this. All right.
Wait.
What?
What do you want it to land on?
What?
What do you predict?
I mean, okay, like,
I feel out of the odds, it'll probably end on Fire Force or fucking JoJo.
you just why? What do you mean the odds? You mean like just what the gods have decided for us?
Yeah, because they've blessed us with Goblin Slayer and fucking GT. So
I want it to be Yu-Gi-Oh! or just because I'm curious, I kind of want Tokyo Ghoul, because that one I've heard a lot about, and I of course have heard the sick theme song, the intro
yeah.
for it. So I would like either of those two. So you think it's gonna be Fire or JoJo?
that's what I think it's gonna be. What I want it to be would be Yu-Gi-Oh! God of High School. Curious about Lupin the Third.
Oh yeah, if we do Loop in the Third, I'm gonna be so happy.
And I'd be pretty happy if Tokyo Ghoul, because like that shit looks pretty rad.
It does. I don't know
Like,
anything about it.
It looks gruesome, but it looks badass.
But hey, you know what? Gruesome ain't too bad.
I mean, we went through Goblin
We
Slayer.
did.
so
It's
I
only
think
uphill from
It
here.
really is. So, Danny,
Let's do it.
take us into what our next adventure will be for us and our listeners.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh.
So stressed.
Oh, nice.
Dr. Stone.
Oh, that's. I'm actually okay. I'm good with this one. I'm good with this one.
Is this the one with the guy that has hair?
He has like the onion hair.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. He has the onion hair.
Wow, Dr. Stone.
Oh, that's awesome. I watched like the first episode a while ago, and I was like, you know what, this would be cool, and that's why I wanted to add it to the wheel.
Oh, good God.
I'm cool with this.
I am so cool. with
I'm
this.
totally fine. Okay, wait, you have to make sure. No, it's totally on
Yeah, it's
Doctor
like-
Stone. Look at that. It's totally on there.
It's super on there.
Okay, so then it's Doctor Stone.
Dr. Stone.
Dr. Stone.
God damn. Okay, decision. How much of Dr. Stone?
We can see how long the first season is. If it's like a short, like a 13 episode, maybe we can do it, or maybe just half of it.
Like, would you want to do... Would you think the My Hero Academia rules of 7 are fine? Or do you think... We'll look into it.
We'll look into it.
Spoiler-free research as far as, like, how long does it take for the story to pick up and, like...
Because I think it's only one season right now. I know there's a second one in the works, if not already come out. But
Yeah, I mean, if it seems feasible... If it's within, like, 13 episodes, I think we can just watch the whole season.
that's what I'm thinking.
And just talk about the whole thing.
Beyond that, it would be like, okay, then let's pick a point to stop at. But yeah, sick. Well, you know what?
Wow.
I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
This really came up. This
Yeah.
really turned around.
Yeah,
We did it, guys. We did it.
We did it.
Like on the video, if you've seen Dr. Stone,
Yeah.
comment below if you haven't, so that somebody else can tell you to go watch it.
Exactly.
And then we'll all meet back here. We'll meet back here in the future. All right, we'll meet here, and we're gonna talk about Dr. Stone.
Hell yeah.
Dr.
All right.
Stone.
Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we will see you next time.
That's right.
Take
Go-
care, everybody.
That's it. You have a great time. Have a day. Go watch other videos. Go watch
Yeah.
some games. Fall Guys. Go check out our video.
Dude.
We got another Fall Guys coming out. If y'all
Oof.
still like Fall Guys, that shit was hilarious.
Dude.
We also got Danny over here. He's playing 10-Second Ninja.
Oh shit.
Y'all remember that game?
If you've not played it, check the video out.
Yes. So lots of stuff to look forward to. So we'll see you. We'll
Yeah.
see you next time.
We'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.